Hello, Stump here, and this is, well, actually, we are ready for our next run. So here is Vic with Phantasy Star 4, the end of the Millennium. 80% no major glitches. Good luck, and take it away.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, bichphuongballz. I'm back with the same game I always play. They keep letting me get away with it for some reason, so here we are. To my right, I have my buddy, Just Defend, and to my left, I have longtime friend and supporter, Quistakular. And they don't know anything about the game, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So, yeah, I'm ready. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, it's late o'clock. Let's make it happen. We'll start on go in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Chaz, we have work to do.
All right, so we got a little intro here. We're going to start with our first two main characters, Alice in the front, Chaz in the back. You know, for people who already know who I am, they know where I stand with Chaz. But if you're not familiar with the character Chaz or how I feel about him, I'm just going to make it very plain in language I think everyone can understand. Chaz sucks, and I hate him. And so we're going to be stealing some ideas from previous runners because you'll start to see why very quickly why I hate Chaz with a passion. It's because he's going to get out there and he's going to mess up a lot, and we're just going to go ahead and keep track. So we have our Thanks Chaz board here that quiz here is going to keep on track for us.
Helps me stay awake.
Yeah, that too. We don't want any of that happening. JD here has proclaimed 15 seconds ago that he's the lore expert for this game, so he'll take care of that. Quiz has the board, and I'm going to do what I can to explain mechanically what's going on, but there's going to be times where a little too much going on, so that's when it's their turn and or the host's turn, and I'll be sure to try to make that very, very clear for all involved. All right, so taking control finally. We're going to change the button map out a little bit and make the game go to fast speed. So immediately we're going to start off with one of my favorite parts of this game. We don't have full-on video cutscenes or anything like that, but along with the dialogue, we get these sort of comic-style screenshots and stuff like that that kind of give more context and give the characters more expression, which I think is super cool. So basically well, actually, I was about to talk about lore, but why don't you tell us about the setting that's happening here, the context.
Sure. I mean, you're basically like, this is basically Monster Hunter, right?
Well, I've never played Monster Hunter, but I'm gonna, yes. Yeah.
I assume that, you know, Alice is the big shot, and Chaz, the apprentice there, and
That +1 for Chaz already.
and this guy, he's just coming along for the ride.
That is pretty good. So we are on a monster hunting problem. We're at this academy, and there's monsters coming out of the basement, and when we asked how that's possible, the principal freaked out. So we're a little sus about that. Han here is our third character. He's worried about the issues, but he's too scared to go in, so he asks if he can come along, and in true heroic nature, Alice charges him money to come along. And that's a bit of a running gag that's going to happen in the beginning of the game here. This is our first dungeon, and for a lot of the beginning here, we're going to fight absolutely nothing. Just going to try to run from everything, and we're going to start with our first mini-boss here. The strategy is pretty simple. We're going to try to paralyze him with, okay, but Chaz missed, so we're not going to paralyze him. Thanks, Chaz.
Yes, thanks, Chaz.
So we're just going to have to kill him the old-fashioned way, with Alice just hitting the boss every turn and Chaz killing the minions every turn. So we're going to lose about 40 seconds to if we we're able to paralyze him. But he's got a very low chance of it happening, so you don't really bank on it. It still annoys me, though, because Chaz, but it's all right. We'll move on. All right. Some of the things that can slow us down here are some low damage rolls, but looks like we honestly made out pretty good. So easy peasy.
This is as far as I've gotten in the game.
That's further than I thought. So
Proud of myself.
I'm impressed. All right, so basically we're discovering that the monsters are being bred here in the basement, which makes no sense. So we're gonna go find out what's going on. But that is gonna leave us to a plethora of some cutscenes. So I'll throw it over to Stump for any deliveries you got of any kind.
All right. Just want to mention something that's open for this run. We have a bid war for the final party member, Grizz versus Raja. Grizz is currently ahead in that, but well, anything can change that. So
There's still
I'd love to have some things to read relating to that. And speaking of things to read, we have a $10 donation from Chibi Scala saying, "Awesome event as always. Thanks to all the runners, staff, and donors who make things happen."
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so here we get our first preview of what will for now be the main villain, the Dark Magician Zio, or Black Magician. I don't even know. I don't read the dialogue, but he's a magician of some sort. Yeah, he seems to be behind some of the madness. So we'll investigate a little bit. We'll keep going. We'll keep following the trail. We'll keep charging Han money. And you got anything to say about the character Han? You know about his lore at all, JD?
He's gonna reveal more about himself later, and everyone. There's gonna be a surprise reveal.
So it's not because you don't know anything. It's because it's going to come up in the game. No, that's good.
I think JD's making up some fan fiction as we go along, which is fine. I'm a fan of fan
it's good.
fiction
You know
about
what?
certain things.
You know what? Chaz reminds me of if anyone's remembers the anime Record of Lotus War.
Oh,
It reminds me of
we're
Parn.
watching that right now at home.
Yeah, it reminds me of Parn.
That's wild.
Like the main character Parn, kind of a brat, a lot of growing pains kind of character.
All right, so the
I'm
next...
sure I lost everyone with that.
You got me. I don't know. I'm on board.
I'm sure he's not watching, but if Deucler was watching, he would know, because he loves anime.
he
so
loves.
he loves anime.
Well known for loving anime.
All right. So our next bit of investigation here is to visit Birth Valley, where we find that everyone's been put to stone, and then that'll move us on to the next step here. Or it would if I could actually escape this encounter, which is probably not Chaz's fault, but I'm going to blame him anyway.
Oh, sweet. Yes. Let's go.
This could be a fine time to talk about agility in this game and how, honestly, a lot of roles work if anyone's attempts to be familiar with how game mechanics work. So I won't get into the weeds too much, but everyone obviously has an agility stat. Generally, the higher it is, the faster you are. But the way the game calculates things like turn order, for example, is it takes half of your agility. So obviously, the higher your base agility, the higher half that number is. And then it does a roll for everyone, and then it's the roll plus half your agility. And so it basically creates this insanely wide range of possibilities, which means even people who are generally quite fast can still be outturned decently regularly. And running kind of sort of works that way too, although there are, it is a bit more complicated because the enemies come with their own values that you have to roll against as well. And so right now
love it.
right now we're just like super slow, and so even the easiest enemies can block us from running. But yeah, now we got Rune. As of now, he's sort of the mysterious magic guy who's kind of mean, but mean to Chaz, so it's actually pretty cool. And they kind of allude to some background with Alice. And then we'll do some menuing here. All right, so
So Rune is way over leveled
Yeah.
compared to everyone else. He's a beast.
yeah, he is quite overpowered for where we are right now, which is a big part of why we don't waste time fighting anything. I do actually want to level up just a little bit. But it makes no sense to do it until Rune's in the party, because once I do finally get to fight some stuff like this, you'll see he's just going to one-shot the entire enemy group and kill them all. So no reason to waste time until now. Got a banger theme for himself, too. And then I was going to say something for JD to talk about, and then I completely forgot. So any FF6 fans out there might remember Terra using magic for the first time. Well, this is this game's equivalent here. Even though everyone in my party can use what you would think would also be magic, they're actually called techniques, at least in the translation, and magic is something completely different. So they're very impressed with Rune's power right now. We're gonna do a little bit of grinding here, so Stump, if you got any other messages of any kind, it's all you.
Sure thing. Let's start with a few donations. Nonstop has donated $20 saying, good luck, Vic.
Thank you, Nonstop.
Knox donates $20 saying, good luck to my speed hero, Vic. And to the rest of the fellows on the night shift.
Yeah. Love you, Nox.
We also have $25 from the Countess saying, hey, Vic, sorry I couldn't make the run, but we'll hang out tomorrow. I promise. Weak smile. Shaky thumbs up.
I believe him 100%. We're in. It's going to be the greatest night of my life. But yo, I may as well plug the actual overnight block. It's me followed by Claude, formerly known as the Claude. And then we got my buddy Countdown and then Clear Tonic right after. So I know it's late as heck, but make sure you stay up and watch all of them. We're all buds, we're all super stoked, and all of our names start with the letter C, so that's pretty cool too.
I always find this village to be like very jarring when you come right into it, and it sets up for the it sets up for the info dump.
All right, what do you know about this cutscene, JD?
Well, Alice is not very happy.
Bam.
I kind of just go standard, like, dirty old man trope, and he starts talking about Alice's measurements, and she punches him out. A lot of that humor in this game.
Yeah, this is our first glimpse of Grizz, and if you are a fan of Grizz, you can go for the donation incentive.
So if you like dirty old men, go for it.
No, it's his grandfather. It's Grizz's grandfather.
But no, you
Totally looks like.
Okay. But yes, this party member now in front of my party is one of the two options of being brought to the final boss. He's, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud on stream, but he's definitely not my preference, which probably means he's going to be the one in the party, but you'll see throughout the next, I don't know, half hour, 40 minutes or so of why he's not. Oh, goodbye, Chaz.
Does that count?
Sure.
counts.
I mean, if he was better, he would have lived that. So
Correct. Yes.
This shows off like one of my favorite parts of the game, where the character just slides across.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
yes.
Yeah.
Dying.
Yeah, that's right. So there's like these weird little small charms to this game. So let's take a pause at the menu to see his status. He's dying. He's not dead. He's dying. And then let me scroll up here. So you see his body just sort of floating around. He doesn't take steps or anything like that. It's funny as heck. I love it. It's even better when it's your front party member, which it very often is. And so you're just shoving this corpse along as you go along. It's pretty great. JD, what do you know about the story of Phantasy Star 1?
Ooh, Phantasy Star 1. I know there's a bunch of spiders. Let's.
That's true.
That was my takeaway from it.
Oops.
Are we still charging Han for the privilege of coming along with us?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, Han's loaded.
He is loaded.
So just gonna take advantage of him.
And it's weird because he's a student, so you'd think he wouldn't be loaded. And so maybe you're like, maybe his girlfriend's rich, but she's a teacher, and I can tell you as a teacher myself, she's definitely not loaded. So I don't know, but who knows? I don't know. Independent wealth, maybe. But anyway, we went into that basement to get this potion or whatever, the ash line to turn everybody back from stone. Then we're going to basically rest here, and then we're going to get attacked. Spoiler, sorry. And then we're going to go investigate.
Wonder how Chaz takes his coffee. Make up some fan fiction about that. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust chat with fan fiction, but you've put it out there already, so it's too late now. All right, so we're going to fight this boss. Does it look familiar? I'm not sure, but this is the... Oh my god. Whoa. First try. So we use the ability Crash there, which can insta-kill the boss, but it has a pretty high chance of missing too, but you wouldn't know it based on... And I just got done saying that Grizz sucks too, but then he does that, so... All right. My bad. Okay, so we're going to take a quick detour. This has nothing to do with marathon safety. It actually just makes the run super more consistent to... stop by this shop and grab a couple of shields. We do a little equipment swapping. So we're gonna strip Grizz's armor and then put the shields on Alice and put Grizz's armor on Alice and Chaz. And basically what this allows for is this cave itself is fine, but in the biolab, which we're about to enter, it's pretty dangerous and it's very, very, very common to just wipe in there. And obviously you don't want to do that for a marathon. But honestly, even for PB attempts, people just always do this because you reset enough, honestly, in the first 30 minutes. So, like, why reset even further in the first 15 also? You may as well just do it. This is one of my favorite songs in the game.
Such good music.
This game does remix a few different Phantasy Star 1 songs, including this one, so it's not original to this, but yeah, it's so good. Unfortunately, this is the age of games where the song resets every time you get an encounter, and it's also the age of games where you get encounters a lot, so you actually don't really hear a lot of the songs, but thankfully, we will finish this dungeon with a fairly long cutscene, so we'll actually get an entire loop of it. I might ask that we enjoy it for a little bit when that happens, but if there are any like super quick messages of any kind, then we can go for it.
Sure. Just want to say we have a $25 donation from Shuffy saying, "Good luck, Buck. We're all counting on you." A smiley face.
Thank you.
And for an update on that final party member bid war, we have Grizz currently in the lead on that by $64.
Yeah.
50 of those are mine. You're welcome.
Betrayal. Chaz is dead. Everyone's
a
probably
whiff.
Everyone's probably gonna die though, except for Alice. That tends to be how this
I
goes.
don't care. 5 whiffs for Chaz.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying? We're less than 20 minutes in, and that's just how much he's messed up. This is pretty standard here. Everyone's dead, but Alice.
And Grizz is leading.
Yeah, or dying, excuse me. But yeah, it's fine. The extra defense makes it so that Alice can just waltz on through. So it's my time. Oh, not bad, not horrible. Cool. All right, what do you know about humans from the Phantasy Star universe?
Were they first introduced in Phantasy Star 2?
I believe so.
Yeah, that was that was the game I played probably more than anything. And they're really powerful. They're probably like the best characters in these types of games.
He's not wrong. There are 2 incredibly important party members that we will make even more powerful than usual for marathon safety, and this character we just got, Rika, is one of them.
I love how Chaz meets Rika when he's dying.
So the next lore setup is to fix the problems happening on the planet by rescuing Demi, who's been kidnapped by Zio. So Zio's name shows up again and clearly is someone you have to deal with. And then, yeah, And then I think I'll just let the rest of the song come out here. Yeah, it's the only time you get to hear the loop in the speedrun, so pretty tight though. All right, then this artificial AI is artificial AI, the AAI.
Nice.
Yeah, good one. It's gonna explode for some reason.
This girl doesn't get out much.
All right. So her computer dad just blew up, and we tell her to just move on immediately, which is what we do. We're gonna stop by this town to revive everyone because everyone is dying. And honestly, even when everyone isn't dying, I still go here because, much like many RPGs, there's a teleportation spell that lets you go to any town you've visited. And honestly, anytime I don't go to this town, it just messes up my menus. So. Yeah, what is the macro here? All right, so I should maybe actually talk about what macros are while we waltz through this dungeon to get some encounters, experience, money, etc., etc. So this game introduces also a pretty cool mechanic called a macro system. Goodbye, Grizz. Yeah, Chaz is going to die in there, but I would like for him to survive at least one fight. So we're going to go ahead and reset that since it just happened. But anyway, back to the macro system. It's a pretty cool system where basically you set both the turn order you want your party members to take, as well as exactly what action they take. And the game will do exactly that. The only time things kind of sort of get messed up is when it tries to work in the enemy turns as well. But usually that works out in the sense of they're all going to go before your macro starts, or they're going to all go after your macro ends. But sometimes they get interspersed in between. But it works really, really in cool ways, specifically if you want to set up a macro to like revive someone and have someone else heal them, but you don't want the heal to happen, before the revive, right? Things like that. Hang on one moment. As well as the fact that in this game are also a bunch of double and triple techniques, like akin to something like Chrono Trigger, for example. And again, those double and triple techniques don't happen unless they're cast, back to back or back to back to back, and you can essentially ensure that happens, right, by using a macro, and that way everybody goes in the correct order. So you'll actually see me make use of a lot of them, either to ensure that things happen in a specific order, or because, especially in a boss fight, for example, I'm going to be taking the same actions over and over and over again. So you may as well save time by just saying, hey, do macro C instead of putting in an individual command for every party member every single turn. So it's just also like something that's going to save you time. So it's really, really cool. Probably something that's not super easy to take advantage of when you're playing this casually for the first time. But otherwise, yeah, very, very cool system in my opinion. All right, this is also pretty typical for what's going to happen in this dungeon. But that's okay. Basically leading credence to that old saying of girls rule and boys drool.
It's true. Can confirm.
But it's all good. This is standard. So it's actually quite common that you'll see party members of mine dying, and generally it's actually on purpose, so, or just completely unavoidable. So may as well have been on purpose anyway. This is an optional dungeon, but again, we are here to get some money, experience, and equipment. If you were to come here casually, there's also a quasi-plot point to explore, where you view some stuff on a computer, and it basically is the only reference this game has to Phantasy Star 3. This game is very, very heavily connected story-wise to Phantasy Stars 1 and 2, but 3 is very, very different. And so this is sort of like the loosest connection possible, where it shows information about the spaceships that you see in Phantasy Star 3, but that's really the only connection they have. This is actually our hometown, seen in the beginning, so we get to stay at our house for free. Acts as an inn. And then this is also where the Hunters Guild is. So this is where you would also take on a bunch of side quests if you wanted to. We'll actually do some as part of the speedrun. Only 2. And we'll only do that because of experience issues. Otherwise, we wouldn't bother. But we're gonna buy some gear. Okay, and then we're gonna take on our first side quest. What do you guys know about the sandworm?
I mean, you can ride him. If Dune has taught me one thing.
I had no idea where you were going with that for a second there. It's like, it's definitely not what I think you're thinking.
This
yeah,
sounds like Bic After Dark. It's coming back.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, sorry. I'll take the blame for that one. JD?
The sandworms, you know, they suck you in and they take you to Go-Go's, you know, place.
Yeah.
in
That's
Final
true.
Fantasy
Yeah,
VI.
yeah.
True.
I love Go-Go.
All right. So if there are any DQ fans out there, this is essentially the closest thing that we have to metal slime grinding. Before we take on the sandworm, which if you're familiar with that quest boss, he's actually pretty hard. And we are very, very, very underleveled. So we're gonna try to make things a little bit easier by killing these big slugs, which form from 2 smaller slugs. And so it's our job to kill 3 of them. I want to kill this first one with Han and Grizz dead, or dying, excuse me. And the 2 after that, I just want for Chaz and Rika. Okay. So I will sit here for as long as it takes for that to happen. All right, we're chill, we're chill. Oops. Well, these fights are fairly dangerous, but as you can see, the experience is quite nice. And then you're gonna see me do what I just did a lot, which is enter the status menu super quickly. There's a bug in this game that actually nobody even knew until years into speedrunning it, where the game doesn't actually update any of the characters' stat growths when they level. Their HP definitely updates, but you know, their agility, their strength, their whatevers, right? They don't actually change. And so we used to do these slug grinds and like wonder why, like after you gain 2 or 3 levels, like why they were still like so hard. And it was because technically we weren't really leveling up. And so there's only 2 ways to force the update, and that is either to go into the equipment menu for someone specific or to go into the status menu, which will update everyone's. And so you'll see me do that a lot throughout the run because I want to make sure everyone's actually getting their upgraded stats. Kind of unlucky there that Rika actually didn't kill one, but it's fine, we'll just wait out the turn. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of damage to set up here, but I want Alice to get hit here ideally. It was Chaz though. Oh, he didn't get hit, that's nice. Okay, wow, that's really lucky. Okay.
Did Chaz do something right?
Okay, but if the monster missed, like failed to hit Chaz, is it because Chaz did something good or is it because the enemy did something bad?
I mean, this is a moral gray area. I don't know. Too late to be making these decisions, really.
I'm gonna let chat decide that one. Because we know what my answer is. So. Obviously here a little different than actually killing metal slimes. These are not like, they don't run away, they're not like impossible to do damage to or whatever, but they do give a bunch of experience, and it can be like difficult to get it done in like a timely manner. I think that's where the overlap is. Because this can take so long to do if you're not lucky, right? So I love the DQ series, but it's probably not one I'm ever gonna speedrun. This is the closest I'll come, and honestly not too distant. All right. So our goal here is Chaz level 8, which he just hit. We used to do this fight at Chaz level 5, and it used to take a very long time. So it's actually it's one of those things where you don't think it does, like, it shouldn't make sense. But it's actually faster to take the time to level up your characters before you fight the sandworm than to fight the sandworm at low level. Just much more consistent. That's not right. That's not right either. There we go.
You need Rune back.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
So this is one of the few fights in this game I have to actually count damage, so I'm actually going to be quiet for a while. But just so that we don't have dead air, this is where I'm going to ask my commentators one at a time to give their honest opinions about the main character, Chaz.
You want to start?
He's got this haircut, like, I'm not vibing with that at all. The outfit, yeah, the vibes are just totally off.
I don't know. I disagree. Scotty too hottie.
Oh,
I mean, look at.
okay.
I think the armor is really cool, but the problem is, it doesn't help him at all because he's always whipping.
We have Big fighting a worm right now. They just need to have a worm off. Like,
Feed Chaz the sandworm, please. I mean, if Chaz is dead, you can't do Tri-Blaster, right? So that is not helpful.
Oops. Whatever.
that's one for the thanks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a Chaz whiff. We need you, man. Where are you? Chaz gonna Chaz.
We're almost there. I'm gonna do that round of attacks, and then now we have to do the thing where we have to just sit here and wait for the sandworm to slowly but surely kill everyone off. Just one of those things. But I guess I can take the time right now maybe to just talk about why you would even do something like this. So there are a lot of RPGs out there where the experience works out in such a way that, you know, the enemy gives 1,000 experience, let's say, and then that 1,000 is split evenly amongst all party members who are alive. This game is no different. And so what I'm trying to do is to have all of the experience funneled to Rika because she is the GOAT. But also, like certain other RPGs, when you have party members that cycle out, but more importantly, cycle back in, thank you, that the experience you gain also goes to those party members who will eventually come back. Like Rune, for example, he will come back to our party. So even though this is a fight that will pump up Rika's level by a lot, this is also actually giving Rune all of the same amount of experience. So one of the other things to think about then, right, is how not only by having only one person alive, oh, that's bad. I guess I was off on my count. We might have to do this fight again. We'll see what happens. Or I can just get lucky. We'll see. Okay, yeah.
Whoa,
Easy, dude. Easy.
Yes.
Was definitely not worried at all. Yeah, so I'm using turbo. Let's just be out in the open about that. So we just blasted through those experience gains, but she gained a lot of levels. We'll just say that. And then importantly, all of the experience she got, Rune also gets. And one of the things if you have fun, like routing speedruns, is to think about is, like, because there's actually another route where you split the experience evenly between Rika and Chaz for that fight, which makes Chaz more useful for the portions of the game I'm about to do. But it also puts Rune behind on more experience, so you have to come up with other ways to sort of make that work. And this is ultimately just my preferred route, is all it is. It's not about one necessarily being faster than the other. So that was sort of our side trip. We really, really wanted to do that side quest, both to, again, get a bunch of experience, quote unquote, quickly, but also get the money reward as well. Since we're not fighting anything, and honestly, even if we were, you're not getting a lot of money from encounters at this point anyway. We really want to try to get money quickly, and one of the ways to do that is to kill that sandworm.
Yeah, I was getting real quiet there because there were a lot of tri-blasters going off, and the triple techniques do more damage. So I knew that was important for Big to keep track of.
Yeah, and yeah, like we talked about, you could individually put those commands in, and tri-blaster will happen sometimes just because they happen to go back to back to back. But the way to ensure to make it happen is to use a macro. So
usually, of the many times I've seen Big run this game, the sandworm, just takes out Han or one of the members that does the tri-blasters.
Yeah.
So it's an arduous task.
Like if you're watching this, you're watching the game. You're not really watching me. But Han actually got targeted early, but he just happened to miss. But I was like freaking out. Like, I was like, oh god. Yeah.
The effects in this game are also gorgeous. Like, this is a very pretty game.
There's this, I'll bring it up later, but there's this technique called the Nafoi that Rune does. And there's just some sort of ASMR quality to it that, like the sound effect of that specifically, I don't know, just presses a button in my nerd brain and it's just like very pleasing.
That's what everyone needs at 1 in the morning.
Yes.
3 in the morning in the East Coast.
You will hear plenty of it later.
Just putting everyone to sleep. You don't need YouTube, you need RPG Limit Break.
All right, so we are attempting to enter we have entered Zio's fortress. Oops. To save Demi, and then we run into a boss here, Juza. And once again, everyone's gonna get beaten down here except for Rika. But it is like cool to have people not taken out right away, just so we can pump out a little bit more damage before it's one-on-one. It's also maybe a decent time to talk about like how the route has changed in recent years, which is to say not very much, and certainly not in very flashy ways or very noticeable ways. He's actually taken out my party like really slowly, so I'm like a little nervous about doing too much damage because I actually really don't want anyone to be around except for Rika. We're not quite there yet where I need to be worried, but this is very, very not common. I don't think it's really necessary for me to do this, but because I really want to be more safe than sorry, I'm just gonna be extra careful here. Why don't we pump out a little bit more? Let's let Chaz do his thing. Definitely not because I want to give him more chances to fail, so let's do this. Okay, he's gone. All right.
Nice.
Yeah. Almost certainly I didn't need to do all that, but I'm just going to not worry about it. I'm just going to take the stress off my shoulders for that and just move on.
I like that in this game, like you can select you can select weapons in your inventory and they just like hold it up. And like some of them do useful things, like the wood cane, like heals your party a little bit. But just thinking of Han and other people just holding up their shield in an attempt for them to be targeted, it's just funny to me.
I also want to say, given that he died 2 turns after, I was actually completely in the right to do what I did. So it just turns out I'm a genius even on accident. So it works out nicely. But anyway, what was I saying? Right. So one of actually the minor changes that happened a couple of years ago is actually not grabbing some of the gear from this place and also not turning in the Sandworm quest to get far less money. But the trade-off being that you're not going out of your way to do specific things like turn on the quest or get the item, which means you're also getting less encounters and things like that. That's always the trade-off with like speedrunning, right? Is especially in RPGs, it's like where can you cut new corners to save more time? Where the risk also isn't like insane, right? And the consequence is that you can't buy a certain piece of armor for Rika, which makes things a little bit more risky in a future fight. And so I'm not doing all that. I don't really want to even allow there to be a chance for something to happen. So we're just going to go ahead and just grab extra stuff because, different setting. But in a PB attempt, you wouldn't bother with that stuff at all. So here we meet Zio. If you were to take the time to attack him, all of your attacks will miss or do 1 damage. So to go through this faster, you just try to run away.
Scared Chaz.
And then he shoots Chaz with the black wave, which Alice then jumps in front of. And then you kind of see the awesome power of Zio and how you're sort of not ready for him. And then Alice pays the price for that. But you do end up rescuing Demi, so I guess that's positive. But she's not the greatest party member either, so... Have I liked a single party member yet? No, right? Oh,
You like
Rika.
Alice, don't you?
Oh, I like Alice,
Yeah.
that's true.
It's too bad that, well, sorry, Alice.
Yeah, so she's bedridden. We're not really sure what happened. Like, none of our conventional healing works. And so now we're saying, well, if Zio's a magician, we also know a magician, right? His name's Rune, so we got to go find him again.
Where did he even go?
He went to...
I missed it.
They just showed it. So they went to Ladea Tower. And Ladea Tower is, you have to pass through this field of quicksand to get there, which they say that he must have just used magic to do it. But it gives us an excuse to basically find a tank instead. So I guess that works. I'm supposed to do something here. Take her armor off. You put his armor back on. And then you take all her stuff off as well. Yeah, we are definitely robbing our party members whenever they're sort of not useful or will be leaving. So we took off Alice's and Han's gear ahead of time as well. Just for extra money. So unlike a bunch of RPGs, right? This is not a full-on fantasy setting, right? This is more of a science fiction setting with maybe some fantasy vibes to it. So there's a lot of technology-based stuff, which we're going to see now for the first time. We have an android in our party, and then we're about to get the Land Rover, which can cross quicksand. So very, very convenient that the one time we need to cross quicksand, we immediately find a highly advanced vehicle that can cross it. Androids are also a specific thing in this game. They actually can't be healed with normal spells, with two, maybe 3 exceptions. So it's just one of those weird things where they usually have fairly high defenses. Demi herself is also a really good healer, but she just can't be healed by other party members. But I suppose to make up for it, she can actually heal 1 hit point per step. But because this is an old RPG, you also get an encounter, every 3 steps, right? So it's like, it doesn't really matter. This also has one of my favorite lines when you get in the Land Rover. I'm probably not going to say it out loud, but you should just play this game and then see it for yourself, and then you totally know what I'm talking about. You'll know.
Do we have time for a few donations?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, we got a few with the Grizz Raja Bidwar.
Oh.
We've got, or relating to that, we've got Ambi with $50 saying, plan to donate during one of my favorite RPGs. I love the music and cutscenes from this game. And Alice is an all-time hero. Happy to hear a Lotus War shout out from the couch. Let's get Grizz facing the profound darkness.
Yes.
You found the one fan, dude. That's crazy.
We have $5 from Grizz saying, what? And Nemo2342 donates $25 saying, Grizz is okay, I guess, but how could we not take the highly virtuous and wonderful Raja in our final party?
That's what I'm saying.
The current status for that is that Grizz is ahead, but only by $34.
Ooh, it's getting spicy.
It is.
We do have a lot of time before that ends, like maybe not quite 2 hours, so plenty of time to swing it one way or the other. All right, so we just sold off a bunch of stuff, and then we're buying new equipment. Two pieces of equipment for Rika and 2 pieces of equipment for Rune, who we're about to get. And then everything else in my inventory I am keeping on purpose. There is actually 0 item sorting in this game, so just stuff you have early is towards the front and stuff you pick up later is towards the back. And even if it's something you want to select over and over and over again, if it's a late item, you have to scroll the entire inventory every time, unless you're smart. I'm not saying I am, but the people who came up with the idea are, to where you put in useless items towards the top, and then what you can do is then equip that item, and then equip the new item, and then equip something else, and it basically puts the new item where the old item was, and then you have fast access to it. So here we got Rune. He's here to get the Psycho Wand, which will allow us to break Zio's magic barrier and allow us to hurt him. And then he says if we help him get that, then he will help us with Alice. Oops, there is a macro to do as well. And then we get to hear Rune's song until I get an encounter. We'll see how long that lasts. I think this is the last time you hear his song.
It's awesome.
Oh my god.
Wow.
You never hear this part of the song.
I didn't know there was this part of the song.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. The good news is that this dungeon song is also really good, so yeah, this is a double win.
Vic, when is the last time that you ran this category at Limit Break? How long has it been?
The last time this was run at Limit Break, it was a race between me and Tyler the driver, and that would have been 2019.
Shout outs to Tyler.
Yeah, I miss that guy.
That was a great run. I remember that.
Yeah.
I bet you remember it too.
You know, I wish the circumstances leading up to the run were maybe a little different, but the run itself was wonderful. And the important part is that I won that race. That he does not forget about that.
That's
so,
true.
you know, I mean, hey. I will talk very large until you bring PP Chan or Darko to the same marathon as me, and then you will hear me say nothing, because they're a lot better at this game than I am. But I guess I'm better at them at talking trash, so I guess we all have our talents. Like, all right. Yeah, I'll heal 1 hit point. Why not? We got a boss fight coming up here, so. My next question for my commentators here is, I want you to both pronounce this boss's name the way you think it should be pronounced. And then, actually, let's leave it at that. Why don't we just pronounce this boss's name for me, please?
Guy Lugua?
Guy Laguaya.
I think I like Guy's pronunciation better.
Well, what's the actual way you pronounce it?
Dude, I don't know. That's why I was asking
all
you.
right.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're the teacher. Give us the answer.
Oh,
Like, that's
no,
not the point.
no, that's not how education works. You're supposed to ask ChatGPT for the answers. No, come on.
Sounds legit. Let's
Come
do
on,
that
man.
from now on.
Come on.
It'll still be wrong when ChatGPT spits out an answer.
True, but, you know.
It's going to have like 6 fingers on it. And
How many people are like, there's no way this guy's a good teacher at this point in time, dude? My students just probably think I'm out partying or something, too. They don't know I'm out here flying hundreds of miles playing video games.
is this not a party?
Not yet.
All right.
It will be, though. This is the party I want to have alive here, so it is possible for Chaz to get sniped, and we would not want that to happen. But if it happens, it happens. It is what it is. I'm not going to freak out about it.
If it happens, it's 100% his fault. That's what I know.
Well, I mean, yeah. This boss is also just super notorious, so its dexterity stat is just outrageously high, so all of its attacks are actually criticals for the most part. But if you remember anything I said about how like agility and turn order works, the same applies to damage rolls overall. And so the important part being that damage rolls have a very, very wide variance. And so, okay, cheat, right. So I flipped out, but did I actually run out of double slashes? That never happens. But he took 5 damage. He can also take 1 damage, but he can also take like 90 damage from the same attack. It makes no sense. Except that it does, because I know how the damage rolls work, but it's dumb.
So at the end it said Demi recovered.
Yes.
Is that something that is isolated to androids?
Yes, so androids also cannot be revived with normal spells, but there are items you can use, but importantly, they will always revive after battle with 1 hit point. So let me know if you've heard of this before, where like a major character somewhat early on the game who's female and has brown hair dies. I don't know if you've seen that in a video game before, but it happened here probably, maybe, possibly for the first time. I don't know. But she's not dying anymore. She's not going to come back into the game. So unless you might see her again if this game's donation incentive is met.
Oh.
I have no idea how far along we are in that. You know what? It's a great time to ask our wonderful host about how things are looking and anything else they want to talk about.
All right. Well, let's start with a donation of $125 from Elcidian saying, bichphuongballz. Do you have any idea how much you were missed at RPG Limit Break last year? Welcome back, and please never miss another Limit Break again.
He was here.
Maybe we just missed each other. I'm sorry, my bad.
Thanks for running my favorite game of all time. Town of Anger is already unlocked, and Grizz is already winning the bid war, so donation goes to Runner's Choice.
Can I put that to Raja? Is that kosher?
Why not? Runner's choice.
That's definitely an interesting choice.
Let's put that one towards Raja, not necessarily the whole run. Let's do that, though.
All right. And, yeah, some donation comments also have some things to say about Chaz. Like this $5 donation from Kawaii saying, good luck, Vic, and just teach Chaz some power punching techniques to make him more useful to you. Or
Kabahi, you rule. We miss you.
Good to hear from
Come
you,
back.
dude. Thank you.
yeah, Rivers McCones donates $25 saying, starting with the bunch of emote codes, Bic 1, Bic 2, Bic 3, Bic 4, Bic Bat. Chaz sucks. Good luck, runner.
Thank you so much, Rivers. Love you.
And Keller with $25 saying, Chaz is definitely unreliable. Why don't you ditch him for someone better, like that Seth fellow with the magnificent mustache? He seems trustworthy.
We love Seth around here. It'll be a while before you see him, but it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah. Thanks so much for all those donations.
Yeah, thank you for staying awake, because we know it is late,
Yeah.
but we're here, and you're here.
The last time I had a run, I think it was later than this. It was
3 in the morning.
2018. Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning. It was Final Fantasy Legend, the Final Fantasy Legend, excuse me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
And doing a completely step manipulated route that you can't make a single mistake on or else the entire run's over. And then I have 2 jokers behind me just going at it the whole time. And it was the right amount of delirium for sure. So there's something about the overnight that's like, it's kind of cool, but also, you know, I get it. It's tough to stay up for sure. All right, so we got the Psycho one, we broke the barrier, we're under the fortress, and it's all mechanical and stuff for some reason. And we're really not up to a whole lot here. We're just going to be walking through. So I actually don't have anything to add right now. What about, you know what? Give me a lore update, JD.
Lore update?
Yeah.
So I think you guys are trying to fix the planet. Is that correct? And then
Yeah.
There's also like Demi has someone she answers to, and this is going to be the next party member we're looking to.
Okay. Yes, we are looking to fix the planet's weather conditions. It's all computer run. Yeah, that is going to happen. We know we probably have to face Zio before we can do that. Not bad. Not bad.
Clearly someone's played this game before.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Yeah, no. That's okay. There's something There's something kind of fun about being here without having played the game. I did that last year with Fasta's Xenosaga 2 run, and I had a blast. So what's most important is that I had fun. So we'll go with that. I also completely forgot to menu, so we'll go ahead and do that as well. Let's see, you're gonna barrier. I'll let you guys hear this music too, why not?
Oh, here it comes, the organ part.
Nope.
Oh, no.
It's the next loop over.
No.
Not loop, but... Should I let you listen to it?
It's like one of my favorites.
Nah, I'm not gonna let you listen to it.
Oh, thanks.
Now we'll hear it later, dude. It's good.
I know it does come.
It's good. No, it's built in. All right, so here's Zio. And this is also one of the soundtrack faves for sure. It's called Laughter. We'll set the macro to make sure Psycho On happens first. And then we're gonna buff ourselves, Barrier for magic defense, Saner for higher agility to make sure we can outturn Zio every turn. And then we'll also put on the Deban spell as well, which is gonna be for physical defense. And then Demi, Grizz, and Chaz are gonna go bye-bye probably pretty fast, and it's gonna leave Rika, see you, Grizz. It's gonna leave only Rika and Rune. Oops. And that's just fine with us. The big thing here is like, you just really can't reliably keep your other party members alive, certainly not at this level with my minimal resources as well. So it just is what it is. You're just better off letting what happens happen. So this is just one of those fights where it's generally quite easy. There's a couple of things where you just try to pay attention to. You get a feel for, you know, when you should heal and when you should just attack. And then the way to track generally how far along I am in the fight is to track Rune's TP. Essentially, the closer it is to 0, the closer I am to beating the boss. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of Gifoys from Rune, like non-stop, and then either healing by Rika or attacking by Rika. And so again, it's just one of those things to where, since I know what my actions are going to be essentially every turn, you may as well just set the macros up for it. Instead of having to input the command over and over and over and over and over and over again, I can just jump between 2 different macros when I need to heal or when I need to fight, and that's where macros, like, especially like very smartly made ones that other people came up with, save you a lot of time overall. Thankfully, this boss doesn't require a whole lot of concentration, but it is definitely a very good song. So I'll let it rock for a little bit, and then I might throw it over to someone else, but I'll let you know. Let's just enjoy the tunes for a little bit. All right, so this is one of those times to where, looking at Rika's HP, I know she's not going to get one shot, so I feel comfortable enough to attack, whereas here she can technically get one shot. So I'm just not going to bother. I'm just going to heal it off. She's out of offensive abilities anyway. Beautiful. I think we'll probably finish off the fight somewhere around 20-something TP for Rune, if I know what I'm talking about, which, if you know me at all, you know that does not happen very often, so we'll see what happens. This is actually a really good fight so far, though. Okay, I have to finally do something. Nope, guess I'm wrong. Is it one more? It was one more. All right.
Nice.
All right. On a marathon, I'll take any time under an hour for sure. 57 on a PB attempt is not what you would want to see, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to chill out, so I'm good with that. All right, what's the lore update here?
So Demi's gonna do some computer hacking, and you're gonna go on a little spaceship. You're gonna go into outer space.
That's right. So to fix the problem, she has to actually like merge within the computer, I guess. It's just the sort of their way of writing her out, because we will be getting a new party member. pretty soon. And the way they sort of prolong the stories here is that, yes, we've fixed this, but now we have to go to this satellite in space and fix things there too. Luckily, just like when we needed to cross the quicksand, we will just immediately gain access to space travel. This is also where Grizz will leave our party as well.
For now.
For now. Maybe forever. Well, depends. Because he doesn't want to go to outer space and leave his family. So we'll stand on that square to take a full heal, and then we'll head off to space. To the satellite. This is where we'll meet our next character, Ren, who is also an android. And this also marks the time once he joins my party where my core party will be finished, and we will never see any of these 4 party members change ever. The only thing that will change is our 5th companion. Or sometimes you don't even have a 5th companion.
Yeah, this is like a staple in a lot of Phantasy Star games. You go to different planets. Very, very Star Wars-esque.
That's right, yeah. So as we mentioned, Phantasy Stars 1, 2, and 4 are heavily connected. They all take place in the same solar system of Algo, of which there are originally 3 planets, and in Phantasy Star 2, one of those planets is destroyed. And so for this game, you can only go between, for now, those 2 planets of Matavia, the desert one we were on, and Dizolus, which is where we will be soon enough, even though it's not our current objective. Our current objective is to fly to a rogue satellite named Karan to fix things there.
And there's Ren connections across the games too, right? Ish.
Sort
Ren
of.
adjacent.
Yeah, sort of. So let me do this real quick. And then, oh no. Oh no. Oh my god, what am I doing? All right, there we go. We figured it out eventually. You know, I don't quite know how it happened, but I know there's because plinking is like a fighting game term, right?
Yeah.
And that's definitely the term that we picked up in RPG speedrunning too as well. And so if you hit like down to like move from item to magic or whatever, but you hit the confirm button a little too quickly, it'll actually act like you went down twice or to the right twice or whatever, and it just messes up your menu, and it's just really easy for that to happen. You know, obviously if you're good, you either minimize the amount that it happens or it never happens, but you kind of just, and when you're just rolling, you're doing the menu, sometimes it's just easy for it to sneak up on you. But yeah, we're flying to the satellite, we get sabotaged, so our spaceship is immediately destroyed, and we're gonna crash land on Dizolus, so even though we didn't mean to go there, we're gonna go there. And Chaz is not happy about this plane crash.
He looks about 12 years old.
Rika's enjoying it though.
Yeah, she is.
There's just like a lot of those like comedic bits in this game that, you know, you're not going to see in a speed run, but the whole like Chaz is freaking out, but everybody else is just like playing it straight the whole time, which just makes him freak out even more. Yeah, so we lose 2 party members, right? You know, Demi left so we could make room for Ren, but Grizz also had to leave so that we could make room for Raja, who's about to join us. So essentially we crash land, but we crash land directly on top of his temple and home. And he's a happy-go-lucky guy, though, so all he really says is, I'll forgive you for destroying my home if you just let me come with you. And yeah, his whole thing is, especially in Japanese, if I understand correctly, he just tells a lot of puns, which doesn't really translate so well in the translation, but he's just supposed to be like an annoying jokester. And we feel pretty bad. But he's also like, we not only feel bad, but he also seems to have the only piece of information out there of where we can find another spaceship, so we kind of just have to bring him along anyway.
He conveniently speaks your language too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We don't speak his though, so classic. So Raja is definitely, as I mentioned, he's going to be a very temporary party member. Ren, Rika, Rune, and Chaz are going to stay forever. and whoever's fifth is always eventually going to leave. And Raja's stay is not going to be very long. So after I have this conversation, we're going to do what we always do when we know a party member is going to leave. And that, of course, is put him in the front, take all of his equipment, and put it on someone else that we actually like, and then move on. You have to come here to essentially unlock, to like set the trigger for actually being able to enter the place I want to enter. You can't, even though you know where to go already, you can't actually do what I'm about to do unless you talk to that guy.
And you conveniently brought your tank with you.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
It does stay in your inventory. So
Oh, Tyler's grave.
No, Tyler.
yeah, so that's just like another reference to Phantasy Star 2, where you get saved by the space pirate Tyler.
The driver. Space driver.
That's true. Alright, so we have all of these new party members, and so you're going to see sort of a new approach to how I'm going to handle most dungeons now, and that's that we're going to fight things that I can easily get through, or things that I'm not going to be able to run away from. And that's essentially how, especially in like a standard PB attempt, like you really, for the most part, don't grind in the conventional sense. You really don't sit there in one spot fighting over and over again. So the way we power up in the speedrun is to fight everything along the way. For marathon safety, we will add in 2 additional grind points, and you'll very much know when they're happening. One pretty short and one not. But in the meantime, what's different now is we are powerful enough to that it makes sense to fight encounters now. Not only do we need to power up, but there's also just a lot of encounters I would not successfully be able to run away from anyway, so it's just one of those things. But we're going to take a quick detour, though, before we hit the dungeon. We are going to go back to our hometown to pick up the next side quest. We will get money for it. I'm not necessarily concerned about that money, although free money is free money. What we actually want it for is to fight another boss akin to the Sandworm and just get pumped up with experience again. So while I get set up for that, we can throw over to Stump if you got anything.
All right, I've got a few things. First, a donation of $100 from Raja saying, "Wait, you want me to help fight the profound darkness? No, I'll leave that to Big Blue over there." An anonymous donor with $10 saying, "I need Chaz to lower me into the grave at my funeral so he can let me down one last time." Also, as a teacher
Beautiful.
myself, shout out to teachers.
Shout outs to teachers. Love it.
KSRTA donates $50 saying, "Good luck, Vic. Ruining my sleep schedule for this block of great RPG action."
Yes, sir.
Shout outs to Saga 2025.
Yes, sir. Miss you, Chaos.
Yeah. Missy Chaos, keep posting those cat pics. I love them.
I do love the cat pics. I was so mad when he posted a dog pic suddenly. I could not do it. Okay. Does anyone need healing? Sure. Alright, so here's our mini boss. Basically, a kid fell down here and you're trying to rescue him, and the kid was basically sucked up by the ooze, so you have to kill the ooze, which somehow doesn't kill the kid either, which is good, obviously, but here we are.
There's some serious palette swaps on all these things.
Yeah. And because Raja is the only one who will be leaving us, we do not care about his gaining of experience in this fight, so we will leave him to get owned. Ideally this turn, but we do get one more turn where it's okay. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to sit and wait till it happens. No, you. I'll just stop there. Yeah, if he doesn't get taken out this turn, then I just have to sit and wait. All right, that's fun. So this is just one of those times, right? Like, I'm not in any danger at all. It's not like, oh no, runs over sort of thing. But you can just lose time for no reason. I mean, he has 0 equipment. Like, oh my god.
This is what we come here for. Watching Vic get trolled.
It's just,
There you go.
yeah. You know, like, any speedrunner knows when they're out there trying to grind a PB, like, you can get emotionally attached, right? And things can get pretty frustrating. And sometimes it can get maybe a little too extra negative. And of course, like, I try not to be that. But sometimes you're just playing this game, or really any other game, and you're just losing your mind when stuff like that happens. But it's all good. It's all good. We're having fun. All right, so we actually don't care about the quest's completion at all. We will never turn it in. We really just wanted that experience for everyone but Raja. So now we're set up to actually go to the dungeon we want to go to. We'll safety save. You know, I shouldn't really ever need any of my safety saves, and it also, you know, obviously you're not going to lose the whole run since you're safety saving, but this is one of those RPGs that don't have save points in dungeons, so you just got to do the whole thing again if it comes down to that. But it should not ever come down to that. Nice. We like that. There is a goal I'm looking for, and that's for Chaz to hit level 17. Where he learns the Githu ability, which the boss of this dungeon happens to be weak against. And so that makes that fight go a heck of a lot faster than it otherwise would, so we just need to grind for that. But again, generally in this game, especially if you're not doing a marathon run, the grinding is just doing what I'm doing right now, which is fighting encounters along the way. So that's Chaz's level 16.
Do we have time for a few donations?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Totoro Slayer donates $10, saying, "Excited to see the best Phantasy Star runner on Twitch. Trademark. Finally live. Good luck on the walk." Killer donates $5, saying, "Fun fact, in Decilisian, Chaz means useless wastrel."
I didn't know that. That makes sense, though.
And Invictus donates $15, saying, "I feel like was just threatened into staying up and watching the late block because of the Sea Gang. Good luck on the run. Until I fall asleep, then it can die in."
Thank you.
Thanks for all of your donations.
Alright, so we're generally not in danger. You can get sort of kind of unlucky, but you also kind of have to ask for it in most situations. The big thing here is that Rune is the only one with a revive spell, so he's the only one you just cannot have die ever. Well, Raja has one too, but right now he's incapacitated, so you can't really use that. And I do not have any items that can revive, so that's the only thing. But as long as you keep Rune's HP essentially full at all times, then the only time you're really in danger is if you get like a pretty bad ambush. As you can see, he just got hit for 50, right? Which is a high damage roll. You're not going to get hit that hard every time, but it is something you have to be wary of. Other than that, you're just going to roll on through and just hit macro A or macro B. And anything that macro A or macro B can't kill in one round, you're just not going to fight. You're just going to run away from. Or anything that you can fight in one round but just gives, you know, poor experience and money, you're also just not gonna, you know, deal with. You're just gonna run away from it. This is also another example of you're gonna see me pick up some chests for money, and so I've already hit the landmark, and we're not done with the dungeon, and we're not gonna be done for the dungeon for a little bit. I was fairly ahead in experience anyway, but again, like, you would just skip all this stuff in a PB attempt and just go short on money. But I both want more money and I want the item I'm about to get on the next screen, the napalm shot, for the grind session a little later as well. So, gotta get it. Oh, ow. What do you guys think about this game's enemy design so far?
Palette swaps, palette swaps.
they're upgraded from Phantasy Star.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. They move.
So the Phantasy Star 2, I would get so lost in that game, and you're just fighting countless, robots and bugs. And Phantasy Star 4, definitely a more reasonable RPG in terms of encounters and battles and navigation.
All right, Quiz, we're gonna hear your music loop here,
I'm ready.
and even if we don't, well, I'll stick around for you.
Synth organ. Bring it. Bring it.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, like as far as Genesis games go, like Phantasy Star 4, like music in Genesis games, like Phantasy Star 4 is maybe the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Shall I say?
Yeah, yeah, agreed. There it is.
It's so good. It's so good. It's very Bach. I'm getting a Bach. Fugues.
All right.
Stump over there is like, yes.
Okay.
Clearly a classical music fan.
This is also the other fight I have to actually pay attention to, and I didn't prepare a question for y'all, so you're just gonna have to make something up. Have fun.
Whoa.
Have fun.
This dude flexes.
Yeah.
He's got like the peck bounce going on.
He's got a kind of a nemesis thing, Resident Evil nemesis.
Yeah, huh?
Some nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Yep.
Fever dream of being awake at almost 2 a.m.
I mean, Zio casts the nightmare, and you see the the image of Dark Force behind him.
If this was Saga 3, there would be mouths everywhere.
That's true. Music's good too, so.
I'm
glad.
confused. His pulsating is not harmonized, and that's bothering me.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Jazz is not messing up enough.
Oops.
Got the marker. It's ready. Oh, that was pretty boss.
I don't know how I want to run this. We're a little bit behind on damage than I'd like to be, but it's not the end of the world. That helps. Let's do this. That's fine. That's not what we want to see. We should be fine. This is just like mildly uncomfortable, but generally we should be okay. I just really want Raja to get incapacitated here so I can move forward. I really just want Chaz and Ren alive because they're the ones who need the help with experience. Okay. We made a macro for this. I forgot. Alright, so it might take more than this one round to kill, but we should be able to kill easily. Okay, good.
Nice.
Yeah. it like probably looked pretty simple, but the big thing is like you really have to make sure those are the only two who get the experience. But you can't just have them do the whole fight by themselves because they can't, you know, we don't have the resources for that. So you really have to like work out this balance of doing a bunch of damage and then hoping by the time they're close that everybody else is incapacitated. And like you can play it like super safe and keep everyone alive, and you know it's just kind of slow. So you really have to, you know, it's a balance of like doing as much damage as possible while letting your party members' HP slowly dwindle so that you can kind of just make it work. So it was just like unfortunate that it took a while, but you know, we made it happen. So the lore update here is that we fixed all the things we were supposed to fix the climate for both planets, but right now Dezolis is still being hit by, like, it's supposed to have like a cold climate, but it's a little extra, or a lot extra ridiculous right now. And the goal was to go to the satellite and fix everything, and it fixed nothing. And Raja's been telling us the whole time that Garubrik Tower is actually the place that's messing up the weather. We just haven't really believed him because we just think he's dumb, right? So, but now, not me, you know, them in the game. I didn't say that.
Didn't you?
Probably, but so we're coming back, and once again, very conveniently, the places we need to travel to are blocked by ice, but we get immediate access to a new vehicle called the Ice Digger, which has 2 drills in front of it to break all the ice. So lucky us, right? Lucky us. Okay, so we'll stop by that town just because we want to warp to it later. We don't need it now. Okay. This fight is scary. It can be hard to run from, and then if you keep running and keep failing, they'll actually kill you, which they probably would have come close to. Generally, since they give you 3 Meseta, which is nothing, I don't want to waste my time, but I would also would like not to lose the run, right? So let's go ahead and just kill them. All right, and so I took off Raja's gear, you guessed it, because he's about to leave us, and we're about to get our next character who replaces him. I skipped the town earlier, but if you go there, it's essentially a small dungeon where like all the houses are in shambles, and you get into encounters with zombies basically. And so what they're alluding to here is they're talking about this mysterious illness that Raja has just caught.
And Chaz has just laughed at him for.
He thinks the one time he thinks he's being funny, he's actually sick. And so it's basically like, oh, well, if we don't deal with this illness, then, you know, what happened in the previous town is going to happen here. Then they tell you about this person named Kira who has run off to try to do something about it, but is running into a set of carnivorous trees, and so we elect to go after her. And then I'll probably switch over in just a moment, not quite yet. So she's being attacked here. You get into a fight, and these things have very minimal HP, but they just automatically respawn over and over and over again, giving you the hint that you're supposed to run away from the fight. And then she's just going to give us the lowdown. But there's going to be a lot of cutscenes coming up, and I'm going to let JD eventually give the lore update, but I'll throw it a stump right now in case there's any updates on anything.
All right. We have a $20 donation from Hexadismal saying, "Good luck on the rest of the run, Vic. I've been dying to watch this all week."
Thank you so much.
BDD donates $5 saying, "Giant sandworm."
Awesome.
Thanks, BDD. You're always a laugh and a half.
I hate you.
You do not.
We also have
These are audio texts, so don't hate him too hard.
We also have $30 from Slaymian without a comment, and $25 from Bobablio without a comment. Thanks for all your donations.
Alrighty. Oh man, big deal Diener, giving me the big deal comment. I love it. All right. Now we're at Esper Mansion. We're basically in a series of like major story developments and cutscenes, and then grinding after that. So this part is definitely definitely the slow part of the run, unfortunately, that we will just have to push through. And then once we push through it, it's for the most part dungeon after dungeon after dungeon after dungeon after dungeon. So we'll be flying past after that. But right now, big time story developments. So as I enter this cutscene, I'm gonna hand it over to just_defend to update us on the lore here. What's happening in the story, friend?
So earlier, you fought the Dark Force, and Rune recognized it, and Chaz and Rico were like, "How did you recognize that?" So there's something about Rune's past, and even when they come to the Esper Mansion, they recognize Rune, and he's revealing everything. He's
A big brain. Look at that.
That's
yeah.
right. He has a greater purpose here, and he's telling Chaz's destiny.
That's right. Nailed it, dude.
And the ladies are very shocked.
Yeah. Rika is surprised, and Kira's disappointed that her like idol Lutz is not like this super awesome person. It's just good old rude Rune instead. So they actually start packing on like massive amounts of Phantasy Star connections here, which I will continue to talk about after this menu is over. Let's do that first. So your armor's off. That stuff comes off. That gets put on. That too. Nope. And then we're going to set up some macros for the various bits of grinding we are going to do. Alright, and then I think I did that one wrong actually. I'm gonna have to redo that one. Nope. There are a lot of macros in this game that are like kind of the same as others, but like with one small difference. So sometimes it's easy to get them confused. Alright. So, you know, if you're playing this game for the first time, but you've played 1 and 2, you know that Dark Force is essentially either the very last boss or the second to last boss. So it's generally always been the main villain, one way or the other. And then you see a glimpse of Dark Force when you fight Zio, and then you see Dark Force there, and you're like, oh man, like that's like usually like the big evil. And now you've already fought him, and it's like, oh, that's weird, right? And then in Phantasy Star 1 and 2, you have either a party member or an NPC known as Lutz, who's like the most powerful Esper and, you know, all-knowing, blah, blah, blah. But yet those games take place 1,000 years apart, and so it's sort of like, well, how are they supposed to be the same person? And so they finally, like, fill it in here or retcon it or whatever, right? Of saying, well, okay, obviously it's not the same person living for 4,000 years. He just like stores his consciousness, and someone inherits, his will every time, and that's who Rune is now. And so we're going to this place, which will set us up for the next story development dungeon, even though we will not be going there for some period of time. And so speaking of connections to other games, they reference, they're stealing this item we need to burn down the carnivorous tree forest. And they're saying, hey, our master Lashik is in the air castle. If you want this item back, then come get us. And the air castle and Lashik are one of the last dungeons and bosses in Phantasy Star 1. So it's kind of weird because it sort of feels like maybe padding a little bit, but at the same time, it's like a fun connection in multiple ways that I'll reference when we get there. People who've played this casually too, whenever, may also recognize this part of the game as seeing a massive spike in difficulty and how powerful the enemies are. And so Even if this were not a marathon run, which requires extra grinding for safety, you grind here in a PB attempt as well. Because enemies just very, very suddenly get so much more dangerous that you need the levels, you need the HP pool, and you need the equipment.
Not to be lazy, but can you start with this one, like Phantasy Star 4? Do you need the deep lore of the previous? I know it helps, but
I think like a lot of things, most people would agree that like having the previous knowledge like definitely makes it more enjoyable. Because you just are like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like that's a cool like throwback. But definitely don't need it to understand the story at all or enjoy the story.
because this one is definitely the easiest one to play in this
it's,
day and age.
It's easily the most accessible. The rest are, unless you really like the old school way RPGs worked, like you will not have fun. And that, like, including me, I can't really like just do games like that anymore. All right, so we're gonna start the grind. First by stopping by this optional dungeon, which was also part of the normal speedrun route. You need some money to buy some extra equipment, so part of that money is going to come from here. And again, you want to keep leveling up as well. And also this place contains armor that Ren will take all the way to very nearly the end of the game. So very worthwhile to come here on all fronts. So I'm going to go all the way to the end. I'm not going to do any of the optional stuff. I'm just going to make sure I get all the way to the items that I want. And ideally, by the time I get to the end, I will have fought enough encounters that I have enough money anyway. If not, then I'll stick around for a little bit extra to fight some extra stuff. It's a bit of a tangent, but kind of going back to your previous question, I only recently, so like a year and a half ago, got into the anime One Piece, which I will probably require the rest of my life to finish. But I actually came into it later on. My friends were still very, very behind, but you know, they were like episode, 200, 300 or something like that. And then I just jumped in like just blind. And that anime is like full of like callbacks to like previous stuff, a lot of which, especially when I had first jumped in, I didn't even know what they were talking about, right? But honestly, I still found it perfectly enjoyable. And so your question just sort of reminds me of that, of like, I don't know, for any One Piece fans out there, like I had no idea who Laboon was, right? The whale, and that meant like nothing to me, but like, it didn't stop me from like being like, okay, and then just like enjoying like what happens next, right? So,
Is the person who got you into a Doosler?
Crazily, no. He got me into every other possible anime I've watched, though, just not that one. He loves anime. In case you guys forgot from when I said that earlier, just throwing out a reminder.
I'm sure he's watching right now,
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, right.
What gets me is that the spell names are not, and this is a barrier to my entry as an adult, that fire is not named fire, and I have to keep track of all these spell names. I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Too lazy, too old.
The names are weird. And it also just, like, depends, right? Like, I guess for me, you sort of get used to, like, okay, fire's not fire, it's foy, right? But, like, the naming for that is, like, shared, right? Like, every fire spell has foy in the name somewhere, right? So you're like, okay, those kinds of things, to me, you kind of get used to eventually. Obviously not, immediately. But then there's just other ones, like, how the heck are you supposed to know? Like a name like Anti, like, okay, yeah, we know from every game ever that cures poison. But then you have a spell like Rimpa. Like, are you supposed to just know that cures paralysis? Like, I don't know. Chaz learned an ability, or will learn an ability called Bros. which is like an auto insta kill ability on monsters if it land with low chance to land. It's like, how are you supposed to know that? Or they could use wacky names, right, if they want. But maybe some sort of like window that says this, cures paralysis or whatever. That could be nice, I suppose. But this is a series that definitely does not hold your hand with stuff. Even this game, right? It's so much more accessible than the other ones in so many ways. But there are still definitely certain archaic pieces to it, for sure. But we also, we live in the age of the internet and stuff, and you can look that stuff up now. So it's not the worst. Could be better, but not the worst.
I'm sure you could pick up a strategy guide.
Yeah.
Do we have time for a couple of donations?
Yeah.
All right. Genesik Gunleon donates $25 without a comment.
Cool.
And we have $25 from some Diener saying, from the Tech Trench, so excited for your run, Vic. When it comes to Phantasy Star 4, you truly are the biggest of deals. Knock 'em dead, Chaz.
Isn't Diener the biggest of deals?
I appreciate the compliment. I feel like you're glazing me a little bit because I just don't feel like I'm anywhere near of a big of a deal as you. I just feel like my deal is a little bit more minor, but I appreciate the compliment.
I also wanted to give an update on that final party member bidware. Grizz is ahead in that, $250 to $101 at the moment. So
Wow.
$149 of difference. That's quite a bit, but still within range of something that could happen. For those who want to see Raja.
Yeah, I'm like the one guy in the universe that wants to see Raja, probably. Dude, isn't just the enemy design like so freaking cool?
It is
sometimes?
really good.
Yeah.
That animation's really good, and they pop up right in front of the characters. Because Phantasy Star 2, where you don't even see your characters down there, or do you?
You do.
Well,
In 3, you don't.
Not nearly as well as this.
Oh,
though.
sure. Yeah. There's a lot of years in between the two games.
This is Big loves the animation of that attack because it takes forever.
Yeah. This is a rough encounter as a generality because moles do outturn you frequently and their attacks take forever. And then, you're somewhere down the line, you're going to get ambushed by 4 moles and you're just going to go read a book for a while. It's a lot.
Oh, the kitties.
So you want to go here in a PB route as well. This dungeon gives you the Silver Tusk, an item, a weapon for Rika.
Bros.
Yeah, bros. That you take all the way to the end game because it, the forces of darkness, quote unquote, are weak against it. So it's just a really good weapon for her. That being said, this is also going to be our home for the next little while, because this is where we're going to spend our time doing the real grind of this game for marathon safety. You're going to see, how to say this. So I have level goals for all 5 characters, and they will be hit in a distinct order. So essentially when the first person, which is Kira, when she hits level 28, then it's her, she no longer will need experience from this grind, so we're going to get her incapacitated. Then after that, it's Chaz level 23, then we do the same thing to him. Then after that is Rune level 26, then we do the same thing to him. And then we're going to pump Rika and Ren up by a lot, because as mentioned before, they are our best, most important, and most powerful characters. Maybe I didn't mention that, I don't even remember. I think we said it for Rika, maybe not for Ren. And then, if you recall the way experience works, you may recall then that not only when we are gaining this extra experience and getting boatloads of experience when only 2 people are alive, but do remember that all of the experience I'm getting is being sent to characters that will come back, right? including the 2 options y'all have to donate for. So this is also a grind, not just for the 5 that I have, but also for both Grizz and Raja, and it's exactly the major part of what makes them powerful enough to bring at the end. If you were not to do this, you just could not bring them. Well, I mean, the big thing, right, for RPG speedrunning is, again, like cutting corners. What can you get away with? But so can you like technically get lucky, 15 turns in a row and have like these weak characters live? Like, sure, it's possible, but it's unlikely, right? And so you always want to put your party members in a position to where they're probably going to survive things. And the problem with the other characters is that they're probably not going to survive, or they're just going to be so useless that your whole party is just not going to survive long enough to win. So normally the party member you take to the end is Kira. There's nothing she's amazing at, but she's good at everything. Her tankiness is good. She's got great healing. She has a very strong physical defense spell. She does decent damage. She's fast. She's like the second or third fastest character. I think she's faster than Ren, not as fast as Rika, if I recall correctly. So she's just really, really, really good. But she's also who you're going to bring in a PB attempt, period, no matter what. And so part of what makes a marathon route fun, especially since you're going to go out of your way to sit here and grind for a while anyway, is that suddenly that opens the door to 2 other characters, Grizz and Raja, who both bring something not only very different from each other, but also very different from what Kira brings. So it's actually pretty fun to do this. Obviously, like, no one necessarily likes grinding, but the end result, to me at least, is particularly interesting. You could also bring Han or Demi, but they're just so bad, at least at these levels. You're playing casually and like, hey, you're level like 76, I don't know, some ridiculously high level. Because you could beat this game, we'll beat this game when we're in the level 30s, right? And so you can be even in the 40s and like, dude, you're strong, right? So then if you're even further than that, like you can do anything with anyone at that point in time. But this is still a speed run at the end of the day, even though we're gonna take a little bit of extra time to stay safe. And so you just, you gotta draw the line somewhere.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why does Ren not have any TP? Does he not use techniques?
Yeah, so androids have no access to techniques, that's right. And I completely missed Kira getting level 28. So we're gonna pop her in front and take her gear off, and then hope she gets KO'd here, which somehow she didn't even get targeted once. This game, like many other RPGs, oh, nice. The position you are in the party does change the statistical likelihood that you get targeted. As a generality, the more in front you are, the more likely you are to get hit. So, I do want to put her robe on Rune. And then I'm just going to pop in and out just to take the occasional safety save. The only thing that could really get me here is like a really bad ambush, like, again, like against 4 moles or something. But as a generality, we're just going to be chilling. So the last reason why specifically we are spending our time here is because every single enemy in this cave is weak to fire, which is also what we've built the strategy around. So for Ren, we gave him the napalm shot, which is an item you normally skip. But that just means his regular attack just has the fire property. And then you always buy the flame sword for Chaz anyway. But as you can with several things in this game, you can use items in battle and they do something. And so using a flame sword also casts the flame ability for Rika. And so that essentially means, especially for the 2 characters who are going to be throughout 100% of our stay here, they have to use 0 resources to finish the battles. So you just can stay here for a quote-unquote unlimited amount of time. But as a generality, logic says that you want encounters with the most enemies possible. So unfortunately, running into the solo owl, for example, is just unfortunate. But all good. The reality is we're just gonna be here. So
Is Chaz that slow that he just hasn't been given the chance to whiff? Because everyone else is so much faster than him.
Yeah, so the big thing here is he doesn't even... Oh, he does have a weapon. He does have a weapon. But yeah, we put him last because there's really nothing he can do against these enemies. You know, could he cross-cut them and one-shot them? And cross-cut can't miss. But, you know, he'd have, you know, 3 or 4 of them, and we're going to fight. How many battles have I fought, right? So there's just nothing he can reasonably do. But, you know, the good news is the only thing I think you can see 4 of are moles. Basically everything is a 3 monster encounter at max for the most part. So Chaz just got his level. We can put Kira's gear back on just to get it done. Take Chaz's gear off and put him in front now. So that in theory, he's the next to get KO'd real fast. So I can appreciate that. He won't get KO'd this fight, but at least they tried. I'll give him that. And we'll be here a while, so you know, no need to think you need to take up a billion years here. But if you do have a few messages, Stump, then perfect time for a few.
All right. Let's start with a $5 donation from Nacho Yakoku saying,
Yo.
I'm here and I'm ready to ruin my sleep schedule watching my boy Bick and, of course, my boy Seth, who can do no wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck, Bick, keeping the dying to a minimum. Always great to see the fellas play video games for a good cause. Best of luck, everyone. And from Tyler the driver, we have $150.
Ooh.
Thanks, Tyler.
And the message with that is, hey, Bick, sorry, it's just me this time. Couldn't drag my family out at this hour to fill the grind section. Wish I could be there, but glad I made it the 1 year. Thanks for making it a memorable one. Hopefully you're still getting my good luck once you get to Profound Darkness. The Zero Force Flash user is a good start. Also, hey, Quiz, thanks for all the shoutouts. Miss you and Dina and Lisa and all the other.
We miss you too.
And let's see what that did to the final party member instead of
What'd you do, Tyler?
the bid word, that is. Grizz is still ahead, but only by $4.
Oh,
Whoa.
goodness.
It became really close. So, well, who knows which way it'll go?
Let's
It
go.
all depends on your donations.
$5 will tip it. Bick would love those $5 or more.
Nacho, good to hear from you. Tyler, I love you, man. Wish you were here too. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is probably a fine time to take a little walk through memory lane and a little bit of history. So, there's been a few times, from what I understand, of people like trying to crack the speedrun for a bit. Rune just hit his level, so I'm gonna take his gear off and do the same thing. Throw him in front. Take a little safety save, because why not? After this encounter. But anyway, getting back to it. But there was really nothing going on. There was a task, I think, by person's nick was Janice, I think. And it was a route, certainly at the time, you were not going to do RTA. It relied on a glitch called the Shadow Blade glitch. It's essentially like a classic sort of cursed item, where it's like sort of kind of powerful for when you're able to get it, but it actually decreases your stats when you equip it. So in that sort of way, it's not good. But it turns out that if you keep Chaz at level 4, and then you give him the Shadow Blade, it actually drops his stats to a negative value. And if you follow RPG speedrunning any amount of time, you know the quote-unquote negative really just, you know, circles you back around to the highest value possible. And so it ends up actually giving Chaz an insanely high, the stat's called mental. And the mental stat essentially affects all of your spells. And so suddenly you give Chaz a really, really high mental stat, and then he starts casting the Thu spells for like 400 damage and stuff like that, and he's just massacring everything. But you cannot level him up, because if you level him up, it'll change his stats, right? Except you sort of can level him up, right? Because of that bug, what happens, remember, is that his HP updates, but his stats don't. So you can't change his gear, unfortunately, but you can grind him up to the point where he has a reasonable amount of HP, which generally a task doesn't really have to do too much of, but a little bit. And then, of course, since it's a task, you just walk through every dungeon with 0 encounters, and then you just massacre all the bosses, and so on and so forth. There's more to it than that, but that's what a lot of it was. And then, so based on just like the work of a lot of people who never really, I think, if I'm correct, never really ended up doing their own runs, just sort of found pieces of information here and there. Jaseed sort of took up the job of like doing his own research, but also like looking into all of the things past people did, and he was the first one that I know of to really put an RTA route together and do speedruns of this game. If you have followed Phantasy Star speedruns for a long period of time, then you are very familiar with that name. He's like the Phantasy Star GOAT. He's the legend. He's awesome. We love that guy. He ran this exact game and this exact route in 2016 at Limit Break, which some fluffy-haired idiot commentated for at the time. And yeah, and you know, he made his optimizations over the years, but he was like the main man for a while, the guy record, because he was essentially the only one running it. You know, when this game first started out, it was sort of like that RPG thing again, where you buff your party enough to where you can reasonably survive the next challenge. And then that's what you do. And so he would find ways to grind and then enter a dungeon and then try to run from things and fight the boss. And it turned out to be more efficient to stop pre-grinding and just do all of your leveling in the dungeon. And then by the time you actually make it to the boss, you're at the level where you're actually going to survive things. And so those are a lot of the big changes. And then a lot of people came in too, and it's like, hey, do we buff up Rika and Chaz, which I think that's how Jaseed started, or do you just do solo Rika? I think maybe Tyler was the one to start that. I didn't really think about this before I started talking about it. But anyway, he was running it for a bit, Jaseed, and then Agi from, I think, the UK picked it up and got the record. And then in that time frame is when I started grinding this game. And so eventually I got I think Agi had a 3, I think maybe Jaseed had a 312 and Agi had a 310. And then I got a 306, but importantly, the important part was not that I got the 306, but that was actually the run where the one clip that I have that actually has views. That's that run where my entire party got annihilated. I sat there for 30 seconds, not literally crying, but like, you know, inwardly crying. And then finally I picked the controller back up and just decide, well, why don't I just finish the fight anyway? And then I end up killing the boss 2 turns later with 1 character alive with 1 hit point left. And like that's that run. And then Tyler was picking up the game at that time, and then he ran that game into the ground. He might have even can't remember if he got the first sub 3 or not. It might have been Mormont. Tyler was doing his thing, and then Mormont, a Japanese runner, came onto the scene, and he actually came up with the actual RTA viable Shadowblade route. So he was doing the things that the task did. He's getting the Shadowblade drop, can't manip it, but he made it work just by making the game even more RNG heavy, basically. And he was a grinder. His times were awesome. My guess is that he was the first sub 3. I could be wrong about that, but he definitely had the best times. Or maybe it was both, and he got like the low 250s as well. And then more people got into the game, were very, you know, happy with their sub 3s and things like that. And then I want to say probably the bigger developments, just at the very least in terms of like achievement, like times achieved, come from Darko and the current world record holder PP Chan. Like, you know, when everyone comes in, they find their own optimizations and their own ways. My next marker is Rika 31, which she just hit, so you do want a little bit more experience. I'm going to fight maybe 3 more battles, but this grind segment's about to be over, so if you were able to hang in there, thanks for that. But anyway, I won't get into the weeds of what they did or didn't do, but they are, extremely skilled players and actually got the run. I think Darko's is very low 240s, and PP Chan has a 239. So very, 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 very skilled runners. Then there's me. I'm here, so I got that going for me. We're having a good time. But shout outs to all those guys, and there's a bunch of other runners, of course. Flanders and Greff and Bowie and Ariana and Dine and I don't know, 12 other people I'm forgetting at this point. So shout outs to y'all.
I feel like we just got a lesson from Teacher Bick.
Yeah, how many of you were on your phone? Probably all of you, which made it feel exactly like the classroom. Yep. Let's see here.
That's what got people to wake up.
Yeah.
You snarking.
All right, so we are finally out of here. Well, mostly out of here. We got a little bit of shopping to do as well. Okay, let's put some gear back on and figure all that stuff out again. So, put your shields and your robe and your helmet and Chaz. Yep, that and everybody else should be good. Let's put you all back in the correct order. And then we need to remake this macro. Oops. Okay, and then we need to go back and just do a little bit more shopping. Sorry, y'all.
I always like these village themes. They got like a sort of Christmas vibe to them. Festive.
Anything I need to sell? Let's see here. We don't need the ceramic shield anymore, but that might be it. Oh, we don't need that plasma. Oh yeah, we do. We do need that. We very need that. Let's put you back on. All right. Just gonna buy some of these single target healing items. Like 9 or 10 of them. Let's just get 10. I might have to throw them out later, but whatever, dude. All right, we're ready to move on, y'all. You hung in there, maybe. And we are finally gonna go to the air castle. We are more than ready now. The gist of what happened is like Kira's like probably like one level higher than she would normally be. Rune is like one level higher, maybe 2 levels higher than he would normally be. Chaz is definitely 2 levels higher than he would normally be. Maybe more, maybe 3. And then Ren and Rika are like a lot of levels higher than they would normally be. This does a lot of things actually for us. So it's gonna start with some of the really, really obvious things, like just a bigger HP pool, which means the higher end of the damage rolls from enemies and bosses are no longer as scary. Still can be scary at like the highest ends, but a lot of stuff will be less scary now. That's still scary. He's dead. Oh, he's not dead. Nice. And then for especially Rika and Rune, who we pumped up a lot, right? Importantly, their agility is now a lot higher. So they are more likely to outturn enemies even when their agility is unbuffed. Or we actually have the possibility of even surprising enemies now where normally you would quite literally never see it happen. It would either be a regular attack or them ambushing you. Is actually nearly impossible to surprise them. Now it's just rare. And then we also get, depending on the circumstance, access to abilities like maybe a dungeon early. Or if not that, then more charges of strong abilities than we would normally have. So there's just a lot of ways that taking the extra, whatever that was, 15 minutes or something like that, of course it's boring, but it really sets you up not just for this air castle, but for quite literally the entire rest of the game. Because as you're seeing, I'm still going to do what you're normally going to do in the speedrun for the most part. I'm going to be maybe a little bit pickier, but otherwise you're still going to see me fight things. And still, get the same amount of experience that I normally would on top of the extra experience I got. So just continually throughout the whole rest of the run, we're going to be a little bit stronger than we normally would. do keep in mind when I talk about marathon safety, like there's really only so much you can do with this game. Like there are certain circumstances where things can go very poorly. Shout outs to the PlayStation controller on the right here as well. If you didn't see it, then well, hopefully you can't unsee it anymore. We will run into them again though. I'll point them out again if you missed it. One of the nice things about doing a marathon run and prepping for a marathon run is you sort of, ow. As you can see, even extra levels can't save Chaz sometimes, so, you know, put it on the board.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, the board. Wake up.
You had
Wake up.
You had one job, man. No, actually, you had like 3 jobs, so
Yeah,
that's kind of rude, yeah.
2:30 in the morning is
I take it back. No, yeah.
not my best time.
2:30 is when I arrived yesterday, so I'm generally chilling right now. But you may see me again for Seiken Densetsu 3 and Dragon Quest Monsters 1, and that might be a big mess for me, but right now I'm good. I feel like I was talking about something before Chaz got KO'd, and now I don't remember. I'm gonna give it just a perfect time then for a lore update from my buddy Just Defend here. Tell me about why Lashik was a major bad guy in the first game. Why did everybody hate him? Do you know?
I do not know.
Okay.
Can you make something funny up?
Give me your best guess.
I think he is what? Like
Okay,
manipulator
Okay.
of the
Okay.
I think he
the
took-
dark wind or whatever.
He took someone's girl.
That's your guess?
It's like the Maury Povich situation.
The more
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going that.
Okay.
He stole someone's girl.
Okay. The correct answer is because he's a governor and he raised the taxes on the populace, and that's why they hate him.
Wait, is that really
Yes.
true?
Yeah, that's true.
Huh.
Now, on top of that, it turns out he was dealing with evil forces and whatnot, like dark. You know, there's other things, but yeah, because he's an
PlayStation
evil.
controller.
He's an evil governor. It is. I know, dude.
Yeah, I can't
No,
unsee
it's
that.
literally a PlayStation controller.
With a few tentacles.
Well, you know, it's got to be a monster.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that popcorn bucket from the Dune movie, the sandworm popcorn bucket.
I know exactly what
you
you're
feel me on that one?
about. Yes.
Yeah, dude. I would buy that PlayStation controller, you know?
Have it tickle your hands as you're playing.
It'd be perfect for like you have some crazy overnight marathon run and you're struggling to stay awake, you know?
Not
Your own
that's happening.
controller like prods you. That'd be pretty sick actually. For maybe one person on the planet. I don't know.
That's you.
I'd give it a try, all right? I'd be open to the experience.
I have a couple donations if there's time.
Do it up.
All right. Let's start with Piccolo donating $10, saying, "Glory to Planet Namek." And that donation put Raja ahead.
Oh, baby.
look
But
at that.
then we have a $100 donation from Raja saying, "So this Grizz guy said he wanted to ask Profound Darkness a question." That was to Grizz, putting Grizz ahead again. Grizz is now ahead by $96.
boy.
Come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, like the green guys on the planet Kuron, they definitely
Yeah,
give
they-
off the Namekian.
Yeah, they
vibe.
look like Namekians for sure. If it needs to be said, this song is a banger, obviously, and it is also from Phantasy Star 1. It's remixed for this game. Phantasy Star 1 being a Master System game, so the tunes are cool, but obviously maybe not quite as sophisticated, so it is pretty cool to like hear those with blast processing.
Yeah. Yeah, if if any of y'all out there have some donation comments about maybe some hidden Genesis gems,
Yeah.
music-wise.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
You know,
Like sometimes beat 'em ups, right? Beat 'em
yeah,
ups have some
absolutely.
banger
Streets
soundtracks,
of
right?
Rage
Yeah,
2,
yeah.
like real obvious.
Yeah.
I like Revenge of Shinobi.
Yeah.
All the treasure games have like good music, but if you got something out there that you're dying to
Yeah.
name drop, I would like to hear.
Like maybe something that's been posted in Clear Tonic's Discord before. I don't know. Just throwing random names out there. I am literally not even keeping track of anything that's happening here.
This is the one dungeon where you got to do things like very roundabout.
Yeah. So this is actually a 2-part dungeon. And I didn't worry about wasting any resources because I knew I was going to heal everything there. To get to the second part, you actually have to go through here, but there are multiple places where the triplet illusions are blocking it, so you have to go around several times.
Oh, you can't fight them. They're just there to be
they're
blocks.
just there to block you. That you will eventually fight them after you make like 4 different circles around or something like that. I guess I could have fought this. Now I kind of want to be somewhat concerned about which abilities I use to make sure I actually have enough for the boss fight. Which is like not a big worry, but you don't want to just start throwing everything you have, though. You want to be like a little bit stingy about stuff. Good call, dude. I don't even know when the last time I changed position was. Shoutouts to good posture, because I definitely don't have it. Oh my god. One of the classes I teach is a human physiology class, and I'm out there telling them how to be healthy. And then you look at how I live my life, and it's like, why is this guy the teacher for this, dude?
Wow.
4x4 in and out.
I love In and Out.
Come on.
This is a total tangent, but you know how like most like the average person to me seems like they like sweets, like desserts, right? And there's this concept, right, of like the dessert stomach. You know what I'm saying? Of like you could have a fat dinner, but there's always room for dessert. You know? And I discovered that I have the exact same thing, but specifically for fast food. So one of my favorite memories is still like going to a bud's house, having a fat Thanksgiving dinner, a feast, and there's leftovers still, and we're hanging out past dinner. It's like midnight, and we're just watching TV, and I'm like, dude, I want some Jack in the Box right now. Like, and we actually went out and got it. Dude, we still had turkey and stuff right there. Like, I'm an idiot, It's just like, but
That's that's wild. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what to say, man. I have to accept this is just who I am, dude.
The fast food stomach.
The fast food stomach, man.
I just remember I got a 4x4. I have made a mistake. I may have made a mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could get a
Yeah.
4x4.
Yeah. Okay, so this fight actually is kind of scary. Let's see how the beginning starts. Okay, so that was the first thing that needs to happen is I need barrier. Why did I cast Warla? Oh, I know why I cast Warla. That was an accident. Okay. All right, now I can kind of talk about the mechanics of this game, or of this fight, rather. So, yeah. Normally you don't have Warla and Hunes on top, so I mashed through thinking it wasn't there, but it was. So the way this works is that the triplets can take individual turns, so 3 actions, but if you hit them with an AoE ability, then they will take all of their remaining turns and just counterattack you with an AoE once. So that's thing number 1, is you want a barrier up so that you can mitigate their damage, and you want an attack up, or attack to happen before they go as well, to make sure they don't get extra actions.
Oh,
Then
damn.
between casting the barrier and Rika equipping the plasma field, their AoE specifically only does 1 damage to Rika, and then she just wrecks them all at the same time. The other mechanic being you really want to kill all 3 of them at the same time. Otherwise, the whole AoE thing stops working, and then they'll take individual actions. And despite Rika's buffs and equipment, she could easily die from their individual attacks. So the strat there, it looked nasty, right? Everyone was supposed to get KO'd until, except for Rika. Rika is supposed to siphon all of that experience. So I did not barely make it out. That is how that fight is supposed to work. We'll take a safety save. Again, ideally should never need it, but just makes sense to do.
If you don't kill them at the same time, you get a big doll situation.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. I guess that is this game's version of the big doll. I wonder what would be the equivalent of bats in this game, then. I don't know, there's so many things ambush you that are horrible that's hard to
Tentacles.
to think of. Yeah. But now we're free to do the second part. We can just walk on straight through. And now we're in the basement. And what you're going to see is really just multiple... It's 2 floors only. Each floor is like 3 or 4 sets of these singular hallways, which looks really silly, right? You know, because you've seen, like, yes, dungeons at the end of the day are technically all corridors. But this is like really going out of its way, right, to just be hallways. And what I really like about this touch is because the air castle is also a Phantasy Star 1 dungeon. This part of the air castle has the exact same layout as the Phantasy Star 1 air castle. So that's why Phantasy Star 1, if you don't know, is a first-person view dungeon crawler sort of thing. So just like a lot of hallways. And so just one of those really small touches that on your way to the Sheik and doing round 2 of the air castle, the layout is exactly the same. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. Otherwise, we're just going to fight our way through. There's really not much else to talk about until we get to the boss itself. So if there's anything, Stump, you got, then I'm happy to hear it.
All right. We've had a $25 donation from Shuffy saying, so classic or sleek Lashik?
I like it.
That was towards Grizz putting that a little bit farther ahead.
I don't like it anymore. No. Good.
We also have a $25 donation from an anonymous donor without a comment, and $25 from the Moon That Wanes without a comment. Thanks for all of those donations. About how much longer do you think we have on that bid war?
Yeah.
Let me think here. I think at least like a half hour. We definitely got some time.
He's going to wait till Raj is ahead and then close it.
That's part of it. No. Because like it truly is like the final party, right? So even though we will do a little bit of stuff before the end, it's not a lot. And the estimate's 3.5 hours, right? So it probably will be in the 240s. Even then seems unlikely. So probably in the 250s. But if, you know, I can give a better update probably in like a half hour.
And we need our Seth first, right?
That's right. So let's start with like 40 minutes from now, and then we'll get a better look at that. Okay. Yeah, I kind of knew this would be a risk. It's fine. The mages can be hard to run from, and this is just one of those things where I'd rather not take more damage than I already have, and probably should have fought it in the first place, but sometimes you just hope to get lucky, and then most times you just don't get lucky, so it is what it is. Still got a lot of healing left, so I ain't tripping. Let's see here. We can give maybe a little bit of window into how some of these macros are crafted. So oftentimes you will see, not all the time, but oftentimes you'll actually see Rune's turn first. And he's the slowest party member. So that doesn't feel like it makes sense, but the thing about it is if you put other people first, you're pretty likely to have the enemies slide in before Rune gets to go, which then ruins your double or triple technique. Or there's other circumstances, for example, like the blue guys with the swords I've been fighting. They actually either do single target physical or single target spell, but if they actually take any damage, they'll start doing AoE AoE attacks, And so again, if you're in a situation where you're putting the fast person first and then the slow person after, then you're in a situation where they're going to do those bigger attacks because they're probably going to outturn Rune. So a lot of the times you'll see him first just to avoid all of that mess. It does mean you can also expect to get attacked first, you know, which sucks, but it's also sort of the nature of speedrunning. When you're of a lower level than you generally would be casually, like, well, guess what? It's not just I have less HP or do less damage. It's also going to be you're just slower. So it is what it is. But as with anything, you work with what you got. So. We are almost to the boss, but you can maybe put one plug in, maybe two.
All right. Well, this donation I have here that came in looks a bit long.
Okay, we can save it. It's all good. I'm about at the boss anyway, so no worries.
All right, we'll do it after then.
Yeah, sounds good. I just got to get through one last ambush. Pretty friendly ambush as far as ambushes go, but another run failure. All right, well.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
Nah, we're all right. Probably. We could do that. The thing is like 2 people are alive because they don't take a lot of magic damage, right? So like, does this suck? Yes, but is it like a big deal? No. And also because I asked for it, so all good, all good. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. I have revive spells, so we are totally fine. I will safety heal though, just in case I get another encounter. At the end of the day, I just shouldn't have been running from those. But it's sort of a nice example of like, hey, you know, extra levels can sometimes only mean so much. Okay, we put the flame sword on. Everyone's HP is fine because I just healed them, so let's go ahead and set up macros. I'm setting up 2 mostly full damage macros. The only difference between macro A and macro B will be the use of the Psycho Wand. And then macros C and D will be, our extra level will be for AoE healing and damage. Okay, so to use maybe MMO or MMO-like terminology here, the Sheik's fight is sort of generally deceptively simple. It's very much a big DPS race. You beat him before he beats you. Because for the most part, all he does are non-stop AoE attacks, so you really don't have time to mess around. You just have to do more damage than he does, and you just have to beat him before you run out of healing. But again, the good news is I'm higher level, I'm faster, I have more HP, I actually have more defenses because normally you don't have this Warla ability, which is a better D-ban, essentially. So, wait, do not shift him, that is a mistake. We want to get the agility buff first. And we got the laughter song again, so feel free to enjoy. We got the berry up first, which is important. Let's get the Warla as well. Okay, so we have the barrier up, so we'll mitigate this one pretty well. Slow Warla, but he didn't use his physical attack anyway, so not relevant. Here's an example of Android stuff being annoying. Ren has to lose his turn also to heal himself every single time I want to AoE heal. Lashik is weak to fire, so you'll see all offensive fire spells for my magic users, and we buy the flame sword specifically for him to do about like 100 more damage every single turn. And then now that we are set, we're just gonna bounce into macros unless he does something generally uncommon. Otherwise, the idea here is he's gonna AoE me and I'm gonna AoE heal and AoE him back. That's generally how this is gonna work. But what he can do is put someone to sleep or try. So if he puts someone like Ren, or tries to put someone like Ren to sleep, then that's basically a free turn. But if he puts someone else to sleep, then I lose a turn for that person, one way or another. But otherwise, for the most part, most of his attack slots are AoE. So in this particular case, I will have to bump into individual commands, and you're seeing how much longer it takes, both because I did that really slow, but also just as a generality, it's just going to be way slower than choosing a macro. Okay, but now we can just bounce back into a macro and just set everyone's turns with, one confirmation, right? Or I guess 2 confirmations. Rika's now out of TP for AoE healing, but that's fine. We can dip into Stardew's, but once he's at low enough health, he will reinforce, which makes him faster and do more damage. So we start, you don't have to do this, but we start this turn with a Psycho Wand to just completely debuff everything he buffed himself with. So now we are generally safe and he's dead.
Nice.
So that couldn't have asked for a better fight there. Yeah, if you wanted to get to that one, then perfect time.
All right. This is a $10 donation from Scratch Dragon.
Oh no.
The message is,
Oh no, I
Oh,
know,
yes.
I know exactly what it
Yes.
is. Okay,
Yes.
sorry, go on.
you know they say that all men are created equal, but you look at Chaz and you look at Profound Darkness, and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another character, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But he's a genetic freak, and he's not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating him. Then you add Dark Force to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the 3-way at RPG Limit Break, you got a 33 1/3 chance of winning, but Chaz, he's got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Dark Force knows he can't beat him, and he's not even going to try. So, Profound Darkness, you take its 33 1/3 chance minus its 25% chance, and it's got an 8 1/3 chance of winning at RPG Limit Break. But then you take a 75% chance of winning if we go one-on-one, and then at 66 2/3%, he's got 141 2/3 chance of winning at RPG Limit Break. CPD, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at RPG Limit Break. Donation goes to Quiz Choice. Vic already has Chaz.
What should I choose?
Freaking Scratch, man. I actually thought it was going to be a giant pyramid.
That's what I also thought it was going to be.
Instead, he hit me with the Murdoch, so thank you, Scratch. Anyway, go. What's your choice, dude?
Whatever incentive needs to be met next. I'd say throw it to that.
Probably something from Claude's run, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, next unmet incentive it is.
Thank you. I like getting those met.
True. All right, so now we're at Geruber Tower, finally. This is where we originally wanted to go before we had to take that massive detour to the Air Castle twice, which we had to grind before we could even do.
This is so weird.
Yes, it is. In theory, I used the wrong macro. Anyway, in theory, destroying this tower or whatever is inside of it is supposed to fix the climate for Dezolis, so this is what we're up to. This is a really, really scary place, both casually and speedrun-wise, for honestly a lot of the same reasons. So this is a very long dungeon. Even when you know exactly where you're going, it is a long dungeon. It is horribly long when you don't know exactly what you're doing. Every enemy encounter here is rough. Again, like many of the damage rolls, not that 12, but many of the damage rolls are more like the 60 or the 80 that you take. So you got to heal like every time. And again, like there's no save points here, right? You're not like, okay, don't worry, I can, use a tent later on, y'all. Like, no, we can't. Like everything we have, for the dungeon, that's what we have. We can't, I mean, in the extreme worst case scenario, obviously I could leave, but like, obviously we don't want to do that, so. Resource management is tough in here because sure, you can make interesting choices, but at the end of the day, if you just get hit a lot, or ambushed a lot, or just get a lot of encounters, like, well, it's gonna tax your resources, and it just gets really scary. Even in a situation where that's not worrisome, then at the end of the day, because it's such a long dungeon with really, really big floors like the one I'm in, you know, you can get into a lot of encounters as a generality, even if they're all like really, really great. Like, it just takes a lot of time. So speedrunners have taken to calling this place Garbage Tower instead. You know, I didn't really get on that train in the beginning, and then you start speedrunning it enough, and you're like, yeah, no, this place sucks, man. I do have this distinct memory of I was in college, and I was taking a conservation of like the environment type class, and anytime I wasn't asleep, I was on my laptop, either watching anime or for a couple of weeks, I was actually playing this game casually. And I just have this distinct memory of like quasi paying attention to the lecture, but also like slowly but surely just sweating my way through this dungeon. And I think out of like the whole time I was playing in that class, I didn't even finish the dungeon. You know, it just took forever, man. And then I was told by a fellow classmate that every time I'm playing games on my laptop, she stops paying attention to class and just watches me play every time. And I'm like,
Yeah, anyone sitting behind you is going to get distracted.
yeah, sorry. I guess I'll just go back and sleep instead.
Sure, your professors really appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying people should do this, but I didn't really have a lot of shame about it either. So I'd be sitting like right in front, head down, like just not, yeah, like
that was me too.
yeah. You know?
I intentionally sat in the front, to try and boost my attention span. That didn't work. I fell asleep anyway.
But did you graduate? Like,
oh, sure.
There you go. We all did, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're like-minded, Bick and I. Like, it was probably because I was in a food coma. You know, it was just like it was just a time of day where the class was.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it couldn't be helped.
You know, sometimes sure, but there were definitely just many days I was just playing video games too late. You know?
Yeah.
Many people may not have made it to class in that case, but I did. Because I'm responsible enough to go to class, but not responsible enough to get enough sleep or whatever. So. Which, unfortunately, that trait hasn't really left me.
Yeah, look what we're doing right now.
Like, if it's a work week, dude, I get coffee like every other day. And then in the summer, I get coffee 0 times, like actually 0, because I just actually get enough sleep. I don't know when this turned to me yapping like I'm on my own channel, but
it reminds me of a big coffee story.
It happened. I guess if you don't know who I am, you're getting to know me for better or worse here.
You should follow this man. He's very funny.
What kind of modes do I have? It's me crying when luck is going bad. Or screaming when luck is going good. You know?
There's the no, dude, no.
There's the yapping about life, dude. Yeah, like deep conversation
with your chat.
Yeah, there's a lot of There's also a lot of things I would just never say in a live marathon. So there's that side of me also that's never going to be present here and should never be present here. But just forewarning, yeah, there's all that too. You know, if you wanna follow my channel, that way you can know with true confidence that I actually never stream, so it's fine. Yo, DLM Lars ambush. So this is scary as well. Yeah, this is what you don't want to see.
I think your emotes really summarize your channel quite well.
That's true. Okay. I'll take a second try run, man. Like, I mean, I obviously would rather not have taken a bunch of damage right there. But what are you gonna do? Why don't we throw it to the host for a couple whatevers, you know? and then we'll come back to this dungeon after.
All right. We have a $25 anonymous donation without a comment and $25 from Danky Kang without a comment. Thanks so much. And taking a look at the final party member bidwer, we have Grizz ahead 390 to 261.
And people want the
That is a
Grizz.
$129 gap to fill for anyone who wants Raja. And we're starting to get rather close to when we need to commit to that. So get your donations in.
I don't know, Bick. It's not looking good for you.
No, it's not.
But someone could come in with snipe.
I mean, the big thing is that in 2019 we got Grizz also. It's always fun to do something different. But, you know, I will follow the will of the people. If the people want Grizz, then we're going to roll a Grizz. That's what we'll do. It's all good. Oh my gosh. Rika just did her best Chaz impression.
Yeah, I was going to say, that wasn't Chaz. I can't mark it.
All right, redeem yourself. Nope, she didn't redeem herself. That's all right.
I almost want to put Chaz down on a spite. I won't do it, because there are rules. But I'm tempted.
Only 8 whiffs for Chaz, huh?
I know.
That's kind of disgustingly low.
I know. He's been a good boy this run.
I mean, I wouldn't take it that far, but he's been less bad.
Every time he dies, I'm like, I can't mark him down, because other people also die. And he's supposed to die.
That weird, like, character there in the instant death is a property of certain items, including the Geno Claw that Rika has. So some enemies are just a bit more susceptible to insta-kill abilities, like those Death Bearers. So yeah. Or, oh, I guess they're one of their color palettes or palette swaps, rather, are Death Bearers. This is the, what, the Death Marauder? Death Maraud, excuse me.
Death Marauder. You know, this dungeon's real weird on any given day, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's real weird.
It's
It's a time. It's very long.
It's very long. This is finally the last room. I'm sure we'll still get an encounter or two, but this is the last room at least. All right, let's see here. Healing. Yes. And then a lot of macros, so you'll have to forgive me. That's a single target regular party member macro, and then we're gonna do a single target Ren recover. We're gonna keep the same 2 AoE heals there. And then here is gonna be our buffing macro, which I forgot to set something up for that, but that's okay. Specifically, one of the items we picked up was the POW shield, and I can show you what I meant by the inventory management very, very soon. And then these are going to be my revive macros here. One for rune reviving, and then one for Chaz reviving. Okay. So what we're going to do is go into Rika's inventory. We see the leather shield that I stole from Han that I never sold is up top. What we're going to do is equip it, and then I'm going to equip the POW shield so that the leather shield gets deposited down here, and then I'm going to put her silver tusk back on, which deposits the POW shield right up top, which is going to allow me to get to it a lot faster in my menus and macros and things like that now. So that's what I meant earlier by all that. Okay, so this is what's new to Phantasy Star 4 is suddenly there's a second Dark Force, so it's like, oh man, this stuff got real. Like, there's never been 2 before, so you know it's serious and kind of the same, but also kind of different, right? He's got all those like crab legs now or whatever. He'll have different abilities and whatnot.
yeah, he's dark crab blows.
Yeah.
I'm getting Dark King Mystic Quest vibes from
Oh
this guy.
yeah. big shadow breath on exactly the person you want to see. Oh, I made the macro wrong. You're not supposed to use that ability. That's fine, doesn't matter. Does the same amount of damage, just a little bit slower. So we'll recover with you, and then attack with y'all, and then we want the POW shield with both physical users, so go ahead and do that. We didn't use a Warla or anything like that because none of Dark Force 2's abilities actually do physical damage. It's all magic, so... Oh, goodness. And that is exactly why we have the extra levels, because there is no universe where Chaz survives that attack under normal PB attempt levels, and so...
He didn't whiff. I can't put it down.
He did not.
Sad.
So that is where the extra HP pool very, 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 very mattered. That's also one of those things where, like, I shake my head, because since he's all the way in the back, he has, like, a 9 or, like, 6% chance or something of getting hit, so it always just, like, bothers me anytime the last person gets targeted. Like, of course, it's still possible, right? It's just one of those things that, statistics, man. But the good news is, again, with marathon levels, like, he can die from that attack. There's just more damage rolls that he can survive it. So that helps so much, just because now I don't have to take a turn to revive him or anything like that. We just keep rolling. And so, you might lose 15 minutes getting these levels, but you claw a small fraction of it back just by getting through these fights easier.
The games committee thanks you very much for staying on target.
It's also pretty cool that there's, like, multiple distinct boss themes. They're all pretty different. They're all really good. So, for Lashik and Zio, you have Laughter, and for all three Dark Forces, I guess I'll just spoil it. You have this theme, which is also really good in a different way, and then the last boss also has 2 of their own themes, actually. So it's very cool. I mean, I don't think for the most part the soundtrack has a miss. Everything's really good.
He's lost his bouncing pecs. Sorry, sir.
Sorry for you.
Yeah,
I know you were really entertained.
Oh,
earlier.
I really was. Yeah, gets me going.
This has been a slow-ish fight. A lot of AoE turns. Not literally all, but a lot of them. So, not my favorite, but... again, with marathon stuff, it's like, I'm sitting here and being like, oh, that's a little slow, but if it were a PB route and he did that many AoEs, I'd be like, I might die, So... But we're chill. We're chilling. Alright, so there goes the tower. Weather's good.
Rika looks at the sky a lot, very reverently.
And then our good friend Kira shall be leaving us. And we may or may not get a replacement for her. We'll see. And then happy ending until... Conveniently, Gumbia's temple just explodes. So we'll go visit that, because why wouldn't we? And now it's a hole in the ground. But it turns out the real Gumbia's temple was underground all along, so it's all fine. So they're gonna give us a bit of a lore dump. Do you know what that lore dump is, JD? He's reading the text to figure out what the lore dump is.
It's all about the Dark Force. I mean, you're gonna go to another planet.
So he's giving us some, like, really, really mysterious clues of, like, hey, there's apparently this place called Rykros that's supposed to help you figure things out, but the only way to get to Rykros, to figure out the way, is to get the arrow prism. And then you're like, okay, we know where the arrow prism is, but now we need to be able to cross the ocean to get there. And very conveniently, I don't know if you've heard me say this before, as soon as we need to cross the ocean, we immediately find a vehicle that allows us to do that. Where normally we would hop into that vehicle and start the next dungeon and get our next party member. But as you may remember, I said that we will actually be doing one more grind that will be far shorter than the other one that we did. But we do want to get a little bit of extra oomph, if you will. So we're going to go to this side dungeon that is actually blocked because it's a side quest dungeon. But thankfully, even though I can't go past this point, you can still get encounters right here. So I don't actually have to start. I did not make the macros that I needed to make. That's fine. No big deal. We will just put it in manually, incredibly slowly. But we'll do it. Spark is supposed to insta-kill any sort of robot or android, but unfortunately it just didn't land. But we will try again. And then I will make the macros. Let's just defend with you, and then let's attack with you all.
These androids remind me of Bubblegum Crisis. To name drop.
Oh boy.
Oh,
We're gonna keep
I
going.
forgot about the anime, dude. Yes.
How could you forget about that?
You know, yeah, you're right. I might be a little preoccupied, but you know, it's still my fault.
Always room for
I accept responsibility. Okay, that's my AoE macro. This will be my single target macro. And then this one down here will be the macro for the encounter we just did, which has two of the big old robots. And then I'll just safety save again since...
Does it wipe your macros when you lose or gain another person?
No.
No. Okay.
It just slides them in last and then default attack.
Okay.
So we're going to be here for about 30,000 experience. Right now we have 7.5. So that sounds like a lot, but you know, as long as I'm not sitting and waiting for encounters a bunch, most encounters are giving me 3,000-4,000 experience, so it won't take too long. So we're already at like 10K. So 3 battles, third of the way there. If we stay as lucky, then we'll be out of here pretty quick. And then this will be the absolute last, like, grinding you're gonna see in this run. You'll see me still fight battles in dungeons because you kind of have to do that, but this will be the last stand in one place and fight stuff over and over again. Well, that was like 14 grand now, 14-ish. This is unfortunate. This will be 1,000 experience. Everyone takes 60 damage, but we get 1,000 experience out of it. So these are the ones you really don't want to see. All right. While this grind continues, can you two tell me about, and the chat about, the next party member I'm going to get after this grind is over? Can you whet their appetites, if you will, of the glory that we're going to experience as soon as this grind is over?
I guess he's known for the stash. That's really, that's how I think of him.
He's got a big smile. Like, he exudes, I don't know, a male Adonis.
That's
an opinion right there. He made himself cough.
I know.
Cracked himself up, dude.
Yeah.
You love to see it. We're at 21K, so I'm gonna do like a little over 30K. Anyway, go on, JD. You're nailing it right now.
Yeah, they're just gonna say like, you might not be the biggest deal, but you know.
Well, the biggest deal is sitting behind us right now. So
Okay.
Okay.
on the
Okay,
couch.
I misspoke. Excuse me. But yeah, the next party member, he's the deal.
Is there possibly an anime character that Seth reminds you of? Or maybe a combination of great anime characters?
I'm thinking the dad from Tenchi Muyo.
Okay.
I'm thinking of these characters with mustaches
Yes.
right now.
So very specific.
Okay, this is a rough one. We'll have to manual this.
Yeah, I don't really see this encounter very often.
It's like fine as long as Ren lands that, then we're like chilling. We're so chill. But if he doesn't, then it's like, ugh. Rune almost died. Chaz!
Oh, there's a whiff.
I almost forgot what it felt like.
Yeah.
But the rage just came back so naturally.
Thanks, Chaz.
I'm gonna do just one more as long as it's not like a one enemy encounter, and then we're out of here, y'all. We're out of here. Oh, okay, this is okay. This is 2,500 experience, so.
Vic has a nice thanks, Chaz emote.
I do. It's true.
Because Chaz is always gonna Chaz.
Chaz it up. As they say in a completely different context, but, you know. Alright, heal up again. Now we'll... Alright. Now, are you ready for the greatest ocean crossing voyage you've ever seen? It's starting. It's over. Okay.
All right.
And here's our boy.
Looks like a bard. Like them. Should be singing. That bandana, it's like giving me some Bowie vibes, you know?
Alright, he is a bad mofo, so we're putting him in front. We're gonna make macro A, starting with Seth casting Death Spell. And then everybody else doing some attacks. We're gonna make macro B, which is a single target heal by Ren, and then everybody else attacking. And then we're gonna make macro H, where Seth's gonna cast Corrosion.
Coercion.
Coercion. You're right. my bad. Coercion. Save the game. All right. Always save. No.
And Seth is here because he wants to explore the ruins?
Yeah, he's saying that he also wants to hit the Soldier's Temple with us, but it's a little dangerous, and he's just an archaeologist, so he wants to back us up. Doesn't want to go solo. He's an archaeologist. He carries a shield and a knife, and then he has such abilities as Coercion and Death Spell, as you'll see very shortly, is an insta-kill spell. Goodbye, Big Slug. You guys remember that Big Slug?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're back.
I've seen a few of them.
They are back.
I love how you throw them in the front immediately.
Oh, yeah.
You're leading this expedition, buddy.
Oh, yeah. He's the greatest. Stop by here to get a Soul Dew, which is a full heal revive. Can't have too many of those, so we'll go out of our way for it. Most of the time we'll get it in a PB run too, because you're usually just low on stuff. Seth's got a pretty good defense. He also can't be poisoned. I don't think he can be paralyzed either, like Rika just did. Another nice touch is while Rika's paralyzed, her feet won't move either. So it'll be like was dying. She's not, though. The other thing you might notice, if you haven't noticed a billion times by now, is how they don't walk all at the same like stride pace and stuff like that, which is another nice touch. Even though at the end of the day, they're still moving the same pace. But oh my god, I'm full on items already. Okay, sure. Dude, why do I still have a Daime? Oh my god. Okay. I guess we'll take this as an impromptu. Oh, you know what? I made one of my macros wrong. That repair kit shouldn't be there. I still have 4 million trimates. Let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of you. That's chill for now. We also got an extra Genoclaw drop, so my inventory is in shambles a little bit, but that's fine.
So no tech points for Seth either.
No techs, all magic. All magic that generally we've only seen very evil monsters do, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with Seth himself. You gotta trust that smile.
Gotta trust that stash.
And that stash.
Junior ooze.
Do you get to see the senior ooze?
That's when they all come together, maybe?
Yeah, that's the big one that Seth's been murdering every time.
When did you ever do any training, Chaz?
For real, though. Alright, well, Rune might die. Nope, he's good. Because Seth is so fast, dude. Easy. That should be the last encounter before we get out of here. So Seth will ask us if he can continue to tag along, and we say yes. Alright, let's update our stats. Let's take all of Seth's gear. I know you might have noticed a trend of when I do that, but surely Seth will stay in our party forever because he's so good. We will save the game. Alright. Then, even this room counts as a dungeon, so you can't actually save here. Which is fine, because you can save outside, but since it counted as a dungeon, that means we don't have to walk out of here. We can just teleport out of there. Alright. There's my emote.
There's your emote.
Yeah. You look at it hard enough,
Oh my
you'll
gosh.
understand why I have it as an emote.
What's happening to Seth?
What?
Alright. So it turns out Seth is actually a third Dark Force. And,
Where's his mustache?
it's right there. Don't you see it? It's got a little Fu Manchu.
Oh yeah, he does actually.
Yeah.
You're right.
It fused with his pecs.
And all I'm gonna say, after we buff up here is we are smart, intelligent, efficient party members, and we're immediately gonna start targeting Seth and his ultimate weak spot. And that's all I'm gonna say.
This is
Because if you think of something weird, that's on you. I'm just, we're intelligent around here, okay? All right, we're gonna use the Stardew. We want to keep buffing here. Does he have another FS? He does. Okay, we want D-Ban up now. Perfect. Okay, so now, Trimate. Okay, you're out of those, and then she can finally buff herself, and then we can move up to Ray Blades and get rid of those. Oh, all right. So they're asleep. Sleep and dying and work in interesting ways. So let's start with sleep. The way the game sort of programs that they're asleep and thus they... Oh, this is actually really scary. Anyway, I think it's actually safer for me to do this. So you Stardew. Should I trust Chaz or should I trust Rune? We're gonna trust Chaz. You know what?
Oh man.
Yeah. We're
About
no. We're gonna trust Chaz.
this. I'm getting ready with
you,
the marker.
You said he was doing good,
He
so
was. That doesn't mean he's going to continue to do good.
With what the donors have been saying, trusting Shaz seems a bit adventurous.
and somehow every single person outturned the boss. Okay. Actually, you know what? I was supposed to trust Rune because he didn't get debuffed, so I shouldn't have even asked you the question. I'm just dumb. That's what happened.
You were
there.
seeing if I was paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I think I'm actually just dumb, but it's fine. Wait, nothing bad happened. So we just move on. Nothing even happened actually. What was I saying? I was talking about sleep, dude. So the game basically gives party members who are asleep 0 agility so that they don't take a turn. The big thing that happens from that though is that when they are awoken one way or another, the game will by default put them back to their original agility without the buff. So you have to rebuff them. In some circumstances, it used to be that we would always do it, and even how I actually approached that turn was technically wrong, but I was just talking too much to really do it right. But it's weird in that party members can actually wake up same turn on their own, and if they do, they lose their agility buff. But if they stay asleep and you wake them up via a spell, they keep their agility buff. At the end of the day, you still lose 1 action with them no matter with someone no matter what. But it's I don't know, it's randomly interesting. This is also like a tough fight, and it's the first time you only have 4 people in your party to deal with it too. So this This also in a PB attempt is a really scary fight because you have to have very friendly turns, like single target attacks that don't kill the person, or else it's either at best will be really slow, and at worst you're just gonna run out of everything. But right now, honestly, it's going. If I'm being completely honest, I've been paying half attention, but it hasn't really gone bad at all. It's fine. It's one of those things where I'm like yapping a ton and it's taking a little bit of my concentration away, but it's also a game I've been speedrunning for like 8 years or something like that, so it's a game I don't necessarily have to like ultra concentrate on.
Nice.
8 years on and off, not like all the time. Got him. So again, because I knew I would live things and I knew I had resources, like, it can be really satisfying for the speedrunner to do the marathon route, even though you're going like, 20 minutes slower. It's also like, things are just so much less scary that it's just kind of nice. Very relaxing. All right, so now that we have the arrow prism, we are free to travel once again into space. It will lead us to Rykros. So it says, so let's head there.
Was there a donation incentive for an extra thing here?
Yeah, the Anger Tower, we will do that as like the second to last thing in this run. So that needs to be met somewhere around like 3:10 or something like that.
It was met.
That was
in
my
the previous
okay.
run.
It was
Yes,
Yeah,
that was my
you're good.
before the run
Yeah.
started.
So this segment takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And then we'll get the Asyldian, which takes a few more, and then I'll need to know the party members. So let's call it a clean, like, I guess to be like ultra safe, like 3:05, we'll call it. And so if you want any last minutes, let's give it 10 minutes. And then just close it regardless.
Sounds good. And the current status of that is Grizz still being ahead by $129, $390 to $261.
Well,
It's a lot of money.
I'll
for
just
this.
start accepting my fate now. It's fine. We'll get there. I hope you like this song, because you're gonna hear this song in every single place in this planet. I mean, it is a good song, in fairness. To me, anyway. Equip a couple things, and then get on out of here.
We did have a $10 donation from Shuffy related to this, saying, if Seth is so great, how come he's not available for the last party member?
He's too OP.
Oh!
Yeah, that too.
Shuffy's been back there with us like this entire time too. He's a true G.
Rika just got destroyed. Yeah, shout outs to anyone ridiculous enough to stay awake for sure. I appreciate you. This way. All right, so we're gonna do some of that same inventory management. So go to Rune, we just got the guard rods. We're gonna put his old wood cane from like 7 minutes into the run on. Put the guard rod, put the guard rod on, put the side shield back on, and now the guard rod's up top. So same stuff. Go ahead and get rid of you. How many trimates do I have left? Not a ton. Actually, I don't really want to get rid of those. Okay, so let's just make our macros now then. Insta-death macro, and then light party heal, and then all damage macro, then big party heal macro, and then medium heal macro. Oops. And then all out damage macro. All right, and then it's just faster to teleport out rather than walk all the way back again. So we'll do that. Okay, now that you can't just read the dialogue as it's going along, what's the current lore update, JD?
Well, there's like the darkness, which you guys are fighting against, and then the protectors, I think they mentioned.
Okay.
And you're doing some trials right now. Is that what I think is happening?
That's right. Yeah, so they finally start to begin to connect the dots. And so, you know, like we said before, Dark Force was always sort of the ultimate enemy in the 3 previous Phantasy Stars. And then but in this game you kill 3 of them already, and the journey's not even over. So the big thing here is you come here and there's just way more to the lore than there ever was. So there's like 2 great entities, the Great Light and the Profound Darkness. Locked in constant battle. The Profound Darkness has been locked away. And basically your solar system, the way it worked is the solar system forms the seal that seals the Profound Darkness away. But, you know, every 1,000 years, which is the amount of years that take, you know, place in between each game, the seal weakens and the Profound Darkness is able to let a part of itself out, which is what Dark Force is each time. But what happens in the second game, if you recall, is one of the 3 planets.
The ketchup guys.
Yeah, one of the 3 planets gets destroyed. So now this time around, the seal is just extra weak, and you just have to deal with the problem. And then it turns out there's a hidden 4th planet, which is where we're at now, Rykros, where you're supposed to get like enough knowledge and power to like deal with it. But as JD already said, they are putting you through some trials before they allow you to get all the information and stuff like that. So there are 2 towers, one sort of physical based, one magic based. So we are in the physical one right now. And we got the D-Ban up early, and we got the right turn order. So everything's going pretty good right now. This fight is, like, you don't want to quite use the word scripted. It's not literally scripted, but for the most part, once you get set up, you're doing the same stuff over and over again. Most turns you'll see this, and then, but because remember that androids can't be healed by conventional means, we use this macro to keep all of my non-androids alive, and then once Ren has to get healed at some point in time, I'll switch macros and then come back to this one. There's really nothing else going on in this fight right now. I don't know if there's anything else you want to plug or what, but solid time for that.
All right. Well, just wanted to say a bit about where the donations are going. Did you know that roughly 1 out of 5 Americans live with a mental health condition? We at RPG Limit Break are proud to be raising money for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, a charity that works tirelessly towards cracking the code of mental illness through various means such as education, leadership, and increasing the availability of care. Please join RPG Limit Break in supporting this incredibly worthy cause.
This is one of those times where if I ever actually counted damage, I might have just beaten the fight without healing, but because I never do, I just play it safe. We'll see if I'm right or wrong about that. The only 2 fights you sort of have to is the 2 that I shut up for. Okay, yeah, so they still had a lot of life, so we're chill, we're chill. All right, easy money. That's 1 tower down. We will get 3 treasure chests from here, and they will all have rings, which are essentially really powerful helmets. In this case, what am I doing? Yep. Why? I was supposed to sell that at some point in time. Well, it doesn't really matter. Okay. High defense, and then for a character like Ren, for example, but really everyone also typically does something nice. So Higher defense for Ren, yes, but it also strips away his weakness against lightning attacks, thus making him like even stronger. So they're just nice touches for like final armor pieces, essentially. We'll get the other 2 from this one once we get there. There's the Death Bearers. Death Bearers. You gotta get creative with the spelling sometimes. I can't remember if we ran into any life deleters in this run, but that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Oh, you did. Shout out to the palette swap of floors.
Yep.
Purple floor.
Yep. And the same exact song. But you may remember those big guys are more susceptible to instant death attacks, so that's what we have set up for them.
Too bad we don't have Seth.
Yeah, we miss Seth. We will be in this tower a little bit longer than the other one. Normally this one's pretty short, but we're gonna go out of our way to pick up 2 pieces of armor we normally wouldn't. Mostly for money, but one of them's really good for Ren, and we'll be putting that on him. That he normally doesn't need to be strong enough to live things, but oof. Okay, this is scary.
Now they're red PlayStation.
Yeah, now they are red PlayStation controllers. Just in case y'all wanted to see him again. Alright. Let's see here. Cool. Yeah, so one of those things is the guard mail. That's for people like Chaz, but we will actually not put that on. The guard mail has more physical defense, but the reflect mail has more magic defense, and it's magic we're more worried about for the rest of the game, so we will actually not put that armor on for him. That being said, since we are almost certainly picking up Grizz for this run, he will need one of those guard mails. The Falgan. Another palette swap of DM Lars, of course. How do you come up with a name like that?
I was wondering the same thing.
Like, illusionist? All right, you know.
Illusionist.
They're okay. We know what it is.
We're gonna be pedantic.
Am I gonna die?
Oh, did Chaz die? Oh.
We're gonna see if the whole party dies.
Oh.
This is just a thing that can happen.
Oh my God. That
Just to keep everyone on their toes, dude.
Yeah.
In case you
Are y'all
needed
awake?
that for some reason.
Stump's awake. I see him back there.
He better be awake. If I lose the host, I'm in real trouble. That being said, I'll turn around in a few minutes and both of you guys will be asleep.
I think we're holding up pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I'll just pull Diener in if that happens.
Always.
He's ready.
Diener is always ready to go. When you're such a big deal.
Massive deal.
Supreme deal.
That's possibly the biggest deal I've ever met. All right, I'm just gonna do this fight now. So we're gonna buff and hope we don't get out-turned. That's really the only horrible thing that can happen. All right, see, we're good, dude.
All right. Chaz is working for you today.
And then the goal here is to see as much single targets as possible. His AoE is just still hurt like a lot, so, or, no, leave it at that. But, you know, last time all physicals, this time all magic. And as you can see, some of those spells hurt more than others. Okay. So you can't keep depending on dialogue. What's the lore dump that's gonna happen after this fight's over?
I think
I kind of gave half of it away already.
I
so.
think Chad's, he's gonna have to confront, that's like Chad's gonna have to do something, and it's gonna make him into a man.
Huh. Open for interpretation. To be fair, you didn't give us much time to study.
I didn't give you any time to study.
Exactly.
I asked you to do this like today.
Yes. Today, being only
Like,
3.5 hours old.
okay, I guess technically yesterday.
Yeah, but pretty late yesterday.
Yeah. For all you potential new marathon runners out there, you got 2 roads you can take. Classically, you can always find your own path, of course. Road number 1 is where you find people who have actually speedrun the game and know a lot about it, so they can talk about the run when you can't. And road number 2 is when you bring people who know really nothing, but who are your friends and you can just vibe with too. And yeah, that's all you really need. Or I suppose in a perfect world, it's both, right? You vibe with them well and they know everything. But, sometimes you work with what you got.
You're out of luck today. I'm sorry.
For some reason, everyone I know is asleep. So, it's crazy.
Or they're running right after you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see, what am I doing here?
Yeah, that inventory is
Yeah, dude, it's
full to the brow.
Dude, it is in absolute shambles right now, man. Oh, God. All right. You know what's funny? Is I asked you for the lore update that's going to happen here, and I already said everything that it was. So you weren't even.
I wasn't
paying
even.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that I did that. But you're right, though. Jazz is going to have some confrontations that change who he is. So you got that part right. Good job.
What did you say he was going to become a man?
That is what he said.
I don't think we're going to let you live that one down.
Yeah, so it's like massive info dump here of light and darkness and dark forces and seals and planets and heroes and blah, 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 Classic story.
But it looks so good with that comic book looking. That was so neat.
Yeah.
It's still pretty neat.
And it's all on Chaz's shoulders. What is he in this game? Like 15? Something like that.
Thanks, Chaz. Whoa. Yelling.
Oh, yeah,
It's pumped up.
he's got a backbone right here and
Ready
right
to go.
now. Look at that walk.
Them calves. Oh. Chaz does not skip leg day.
You ever think about the choice you would make if you could, like, would you, how to phrase this? If you could choose to have the body that Dataluma from FF6 does, would you? Have you ever, has that ever crossed your mind, just when you're in the bathroom or something,
That's the only place it crosses my mind is in the bathroom. That dude is ridiculous, but he is working it. So
I'm not hating. I'm just, he's got a distinct body type.
I don't think it's gonna happen for me in this life.
I'm not asking that either. I'm just asking if you just would want it. If you could just wake up tomorrow with Dataluma's body, would you?
Can we try it for like 24 hours?
No.
Oh.
You gotta.
That dude does not fit in
We gotta-
planes well. You can tell. There's just some things he's never gonna fit into.
That's fair.
I'd have to think about the ramifications.
All right.
Wow, you decided on him. Well, I mean,
I don't know.
why not? You're clearly a little tired too. So our boy's alone?
He's solo. And if you keep your normal gear on him, so I put 2 shields on him. If you keep your normal gear on him, you get ambushed. You can die in here. That's also why I safety save, even though it's not going to happen. But
The marker is ready.
but you can actually die in here, which is extremely hilarious. You know, not when you're on a PB pace run, but. All right, so we get put here because Chaz doesn't want to fight. He doesn't necessarily believe in the cause, and he's just kind of confused. So Rune tells him, hey, come down here, check this sword out, and you'll understand. There's definitely cool parts of this cutscene because it, does a really great job again of just linking the 3 games together. You're seeing Phantasy Star 1's and 2's heroes and like the battle they went through, and I think that's like a nice touch. But also it just sort of seems like he sees them and then suddenly he's like, yeah, I'm going to totally do this fight now. No one actually convinces him of anything. Like these characters don't even say anything really.
Oh.
They're just like, what up? And then he changes his mind, which I don't know, to me is a little strange, but maybe they just couldn't do it. The Alcidian will overlap anything he has equipped in his hand, so you have to make sure those shields get unequipped or whatever he's wearing unequipped, or else you just lose them. That being said, there is a glitch you can use if you have a guard sword on, which technically gives him 10 dex, and you keep it on and let it get overwritten by the Alcidian, he actually keeps the 10 dex. But still has the weapon stats of the Alcidian, so you just can't ever let him update his stats ever again, or else it goes away. All right, so it is final party member time,
Oh.
and so you definitely have time for one last refresh, but I'm sure we all know what the answer is.
All right, let me just give it that refresh. Oh, by bid totals of $390 to $261, our final party member will be Grizz.
Gotcha.
And that bid that's $561 that raised as a total for Nami. Thanks so much.
Pretty amazing.
Thanks very much, y'all. I'm pretty sure you said Grizz, but actually I'm going to take Han, so sorry everyone who donated. You're No, I'm kidding. What I'm doing is I'm actually robbing Han of one of his items, and then I'm getting rid of him, so we will take Grizz. I'm a man of the people. But we really want that item, so. All right. Cool. Let's put some new gear on old Grizzy. So we want him with those shields, guard mail, swift helm. Then we're gonna put him second. Can't remember if I healed or not, but it kind of doesn't matter. All right, now we're gonna fly back to Rykros to do the extra content y'all donated for as well, which is to hit the Anger Tower, which gives us a very small but potentially meaningful cutscene, as well as access to an extra ability that, unfortunately, with this party makeup, we will only be able to see a couple of times. With Raja in your party, you can do it sort of infinitely, but you will see it. I will do it, so we're chill there. So we will go ahead and drive over here.
Is Dataluma in the Anger Tower?
Is Dataluma? No. Sometimes I just have to fill some space, and the first thing that comes into my mind is, would you trade bodies with Dataluma? I don't know.
No, I'm rethinking it, and I think, I would, because then I'd be nice and tall, and I could actually reach things, which is a big problem in my life.
All right, we're gonna take a quick detour here as well to just pick up yet another guard mail. That one is definitely for money. First one was for Grizz. This one's for my wallet.
If you're bringing up FF6, does that mean you're coming back?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, come on.
That speedrun's in shambles. Yeah. No. I got like good buddies like Tina doing that stuff. That game's in good hands. We're chill. FF6 has about as much of a chance as FF4 or Mystic Quest,
Woof.
which is 0, if you guys didn't know that. I'm more likely to play Final Fantasy Legend 3 than I am those other.
Oh, that's a great one. Mouths.
All right. So we will very soon see who's in this tower. All right. So we'll change up a little bit of gear. You'll see why momentarily. So I want to put the guard mail on him. And then you'll see, here's Alice. She's back, and it's Chaz by himself. And then she is going to attack him. And there's sad music. And she crits me for 125 damage, so I might actually die. Oh, okay. You can totally die there. All right. And then you freak out because you see her die again. And then the actual anger tower, like, boss equivalent shows up. And it's a cutscene, or not a cutscene, it's a dialogue choice, actually. So he tells you, hey, if you want, I can teach you this super awesome ability based on your anger and your hatred. And he asks, hey, do you want it? And if you say yes, then he says that's the wrong choice, and he fights you, and you have no way of beating him unless you cheat with, like, a Game Genie or something like that. If you say no, which we did, then he says, cool, like, clearly you have a good head on your shoulders. I'll teach you the ability anyway. And that would be the Megid or Megid spell. It does cost 30 TP, and Chaz will almost certainly use some TP, and will have to retain some in case I need him to revive. So that really makes it to that in an ideal scenario. I can only really cast that spell twice on the final boss, but we will still cast it at least once. All right, we have one last shopping trip to take. This shop is actually closed early on, but it opens after you kill Dark Force 2. And the only things they sell are like the biggest and best healing items that you can only otherwise get by finding them. So you Stardews, Soul Dews. All right, so I'm gonna sell anything I no longer need. How many Trimates? 5? 5 is enough. I'm not gonna go and get another one. Oh, okay. And then I need to put Chaz's old armor back on. Let's not forget that. Nope, don't sell that. Okay, let's take a look at what we have as well. So 1 Soul Dew, 2, 3, 4. So I want 4 more of those. You can probably see why I wanted so much money. And whatever we can buy of Stardews, that's what we will do. There was one more item I could have got for another 20 grand, but as you can see, I don't even have the room in my inventory for more. So no point in that. Soul Dews are revives, full HP revives, and Stardews are full party non-android heals. Not full HP, but close enough. So we'll usually back that up with Guard Rod healing. Alright, I don't know why I walked down here, I already healed, but we'll just heal again. So we already put the party order in, so it's macro time. No, this is wrong. Well, at least I caught it. get out of here. It was a little better than 2019, but not where I would have wanted it.
Well.
All right, let's go. So final
God.
dungeon.
Oh, this thing.
Enjoy. Yeah, it's a lot. Assuming you can even see. Oh my God, I did not just do that. We're gonna just reset. Yeah, no, I'm not wasting that. Blind heads. So this is a pretty scary place too. Most things are hard to run from. Everything does a lot of damage. It's so easy to die here. You're on a PB pace run, and not only are you worried about not dying, but you know, you can also just lose a lot of time here. So it's just, as you can see, it's just rough. This might warrant another reset, but we'll have to see. I don't remember what my revive situation looks like, but we'll figure it out. Alright, so what I'm hoping, I still have my Moon Dew. That's what I was hoping for. I could have used the Soul Dew, and I might have. That's sort of what I was questioning, is like, do I really want to do that? And here's also the trouble with Chaz's TP, because I can't really afford to use Rika's to heal, because she really needs it for the boss fight itself, which means I can only use Chaz, and every heal cast means less Megatsy gets used. So ideally, we don't run into situations like that, but it appears we are going to just have one of those edge walks. And there is not a dang thing I can do about it. I was very close to accidentally teleporting out of the dungeon, though. That would have been sick.
Never done that before.
Definitely not. Yeah, if this TP stays the way it is, it's one cast I can safely do, and 2 casts if I want to be risky about it, which I probably don't want to be. All right, this is the last room. We are about to enter the final boss, which is a 3-phase boss fight, where the music also changes on the 3rd phase. I just have to quickly, or hopefully quickly, change over my last 2 macros. To be revive macros that I once I'm late into the fight, we won't really bother with these. These are pretty much early ones, because once I'm late into it, I'm not going to want to waste a whole macro on reviving someone. I'm going to want to just get them up as fast as possible with soul dews. Okay, so
All right, Grizz, pull your weight.
I don't know how to describe what we're looking at, but we're gonna fight it.
Oh. So many things to describe this thing coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so here's our first song that we'll play in the first 2 phases. Here's phase 1, Profound Darkness. We will start with buffing ourselves. So one of the losses by taking Grizz is the other 2 choices of 5th party member come with a physical defense buff spell, which Grizz does not have. So one of the tough parts of this is that I have to take an extra turn with Rika every time I want to buff now, to put that on, and I have to. It is worth it to do so. You don't want to skip out on that. Because also Grizz and Raja do not have good damage options either. That's why I made that joke about taking Han and stealing that item. His item was the melee dagger, which uses a Nafoy if you use it in battle, so that's just free damage I get to have. If you left Grizz with his axe, you wouldn't... The big reason why you take Grizz is he's just extremely, extremely, extremely tanky. And also somehow Chaz survived that. If he did not have marathon levels, he absolutely would have died to that. So,
There's a whiff.
That's a
There's our 10th.
That is a classic Chaz whiff right
Beautiful.
there.
Right at the end. Love it.
You have like a legendary, all-universal, powerful sword, and you just against the enemy that takes the whole screen. Like, I don't get it.
So many mouths to hit, too.
You know, he just... Chaz is Chaz, man. He can't help who he is. Alright, that's phase 1. It is meant to be the simplest one. It only has single target attacks. This one has mostly AoE, and we really want to try to see him use a single target attack at least once. That speeds this fight up way faster. Even just one of them. I'm also going to use one of my 3 charges of my strongest damage output macro. Very nice. Oh, man, but he died. Unfortunate. Just to get him through this phase faster. I'm going to save the other 2 charges for the final phase, though. So we unfortunately don't get as much out of that single target hit as we would, but we will keep on trucking. Okay, so we're going to change up our healing a little bit. We're going to Gisar while it's still reasonable for Rika to do so. And then whatever amount of healing that doesn't do, Grizz will finish off with the guard rod. Okay. There we go. That's what you want to see. You want to see him do that, but have that person live so that everyone else gets an attack now. That's big damn. Yeah, flare. And then when this boss transitions, we will hear the final boss theme, Ooze, and we will hit the final boss, where even with all the precautions I've taken, really, really, really bad things can happen. And just, we'll do the best we can. In the meantime, I'll deal with the tension, and you guys enjoy the music and the ride. This has been a long phase. He probably phases this turn, but I don't want to use any more of her TP, so I'll use the Stardew here. I'm using other of Chaz's abilities just to ensure he doesn't miss, because I really can't afford him missing. He can't crit with those abilities, but he can't miss. So that's the trade-off. Okay, here we go. You always get to go first, generally here, and she will always make it first turn. And then from there, who the heck knows? And this will generally be my response to Megid every time. 3 party members it takes to heal, 2 party members deal damage. That is a concerning outturn, but at least it happened after the heals, so... Rune deciding to go a little slow, though, but as long as it happens after we heal, then it's irrelevant. Let's get a little stable, and then I can throw a Megid out. Oh, or not. Okay, so this is half of what you don't want to see. Okay, so the goal is to make sure you get your barrier buff up before she takes an action at all. Because if we didn't get the buff up, this would just wipe my party. Okay. So, how do I want to handle this? I will recover. You guard rod, you can do that. You need to re-deban. And you can Stardew. Normally Rika would be my healer, right? But because I want her to agility, or not agility, to physical buff, physical defense buff, then I'm gonna have to take someone else's turn to heal. Okay. This is, we had a race of this 2019. My fight went really well. Tyler's fight went exactly like this. So I guess it's just my turn. Let's change it up a little bit. Actually, yeah, let's change it up a little bit. Oh, I should have probably megaed there. Oh well. Plenty more turns to go, unfortunately. Come on, Rune. Thank you. I would like for her to be a lot friendlier because we are on track to running out of healing resources. That's exactly what we like to see. Okay, so now we can just manually heal. I don't have any, I do, okay. And then we can double slash. I'll just get it out of the way. Make sure I cast the spell at least once before things get a little too crazy. Cast the Arouse spell to wake him up. Great name. Okay, does he live? He does not. We will get him up with a Soul Dew. And we are out of Megid, so we are back to crosscuts. The big thing here is Rune will not have his agility buff. I wonder how risky I want to take it. Let's not. Let's just get him resanered up. I think I'm gonna forego defense buffs just in case she cancels again. Following that with a free turn, though, is most welcome. I believe this is Chaz's last crosscut, so I can't use that macro anymore. I'll have to manual. Perfect. Perfect. I should not have done that macro, but he doesn't have too much health left, so we're just gonna roll with it. But that was not the decision I should have made. I will take another free turn. 3 canceling. I'm not even mad about it. I don't feel bad. It's been time.
There you go.
Time.
GG.
Nice. Ooh, that one was a little scary. Ooh, we did it, dude. We got through it. We saved an entire 2 minutes off the estimate, dude. Go us.
job.
You're welcome, schedule, dude. We're working hard. To that end, I will definitely not take up too much time for this. So thanks for JD and Quist for filling in super last minute. I appreciate it. It makes this a lot easier. Thanks to Limit Break for taking the run again. Always a blast to do this. Love all the Phantasy Star Forerunners that I already mentioned. And yeah, I don't know. Always fun as heck to be here. Up next is my boy, the Claude. And then you'll probably see me again for the other 2 runs after, unless I'm unconscious. So good night, y'all. You have fun. Keep watching.
That was Phantasy Star for End of the Millennium. By Vic, thanks so much for that run. Right at the end, we had a $75 donation from Sigma Beta saying, "Glad I caught the end of this run. One of the foundational games of my childhood. Thanks so much for the run." Tantra Merch is excited to partner with RPG Limit Break for the first time to launch an exclusive merch collection supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness. This lineup includes 8 unique shirt designs, including a replica of this year's 10th anniversary attendee shirt, as well as a cozy blanket, a sleek journal, an enamel pin, a stainless steel water bottle, an RPG Limit Break cap, and more, featuring bold graphics to heartfelt designs. $5 from every sale of these items goes directly to charity. Explore the full collection now at tantramerch.com/RPGLimitBreak and help make a difference. Yeah, thanks so much to Tantrum for helping make this happen. And while we're getting this next run set up, we have a few more donations that have come in. A $25 anonymous one without a comment, and $34.40 from Ferretskin, also without a comment. Thanks for those donations. And in this run, that's coming up, we have a few incentives in Bid Wars, such as one for a character bid war for Final Boss, and fighting the Mima Super Boss and showing off 8-bit Remu. Both of those incentives do need some more to make it, but they're a good amount of the way there. Mima is at 627 out of 750 right now, and 8-bit Remu at 60 out of 200 at the moment. And it's been great to be your host for this past run, but my time for that is over for now. But if you enjoyed hearing me do this, I'll be back on here for the Pokemon for the beginning of the Pokemon Let's Go run on Saturday morning. That should be starting around 7 a.m. Mountain Time. But for now, after what we do, we'll have another host, 3Pup, who's going to do wonderfully. I know it. So give 3Pup your support, and for now, we'll go to a quick ad break and